Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay, yay, yay. Bullseye on the yay. My name is James Petrogallo. I am here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us this week on another exciting edition of Crime and Sports. God, we're excited this week. I do want to say real quick before we get started here, if we sound a little bit different than normal, we are not in our normal studio.
This isn't it?
This is not it. No, this is a
We're
tiny...
not here from now on?
We're in a tiny hotel room in Glendale, California, performing with Dan Cummins of the wonderful Time Suck podcast, which you should listen to. It's fantastic. He's so great. He's so
such
great.
A great person. That what, James?
He's loaned us his recording equipment.
We're doing this right
we
now.
would not have a show this week if it wasn't for Dan. Our studio's time got completely screwed up, and we had to go out of town to perform with him at the Hollywood Improv tonight. And he gave us a suitcase full of stuff, and he's the best. So listen to Time Suck, do that. But we apologize if we don't sound the same as we normally do. I don't know what the acoustics are in this hotel room. We
didn't have time to test them,
and we didn't have time to test them. We literally have to get this in and get somewhere else. Right. It's crazy. So we're doing the best we can
with what we have.
With what we have, and we promise next week back in the studio we won't leave you guys again. No. Big announcement here. Big announcement. We gave a teaser last week, but December 14th of this year, 2017 AD, we of the Crime and Sports podcast and also Small Town Murder will be in Chicago doing a live show
at Lincoln Hall.
We will do an episode of Small Town Murder and then an episode of Crime and Sports. Two separate shows. Two separate tickets. You got to come. You got to hang out. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be what we do here. Plus, we're going to put some visuals into it too, which is a lot of fun. We did it at South by Southwest, and it went over pretty cool. Went over pretty well. It's fun. It's a good time. So it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time. We're going to meet everybody, take pictures, and have a fun and talk to people, and we can't wait. So get online right now. You can get your tickets. What's that address, Jimmy?
LH-ST. No. ST. Yes. LH-ST. LH.
Got that?
st.com.
You can go there, find the tickets. And also the ticket, you don't even need to know what Jimmy just said, because I'm not sure. But you can find the link in the show description, whatever platform you're listening to, you can find the show description. Easy. I'll put the link in there for you. Everybody can get it. But please come out and see us, because it's honestly going to be so much fun. We can't wait. We can't wait. And I have to tell you guys one thing. Not a lot of sports this week at all. Virtually zero sports. We'll get into why and all that. It's a very interesting story, and we'll talk all about it. Just before we get into all that, I have to thank everyone for their amazing outpouring of iTunes reviews this week. They have helped so much. They really have. Between you guys listening and your iTunes reviews, you've helped us tremendously. We always say, they help so much on the business end. They really do, and it's starting to pay off on the charts anyway. Not necessarily in our wallets on other things, but that's not your fault. No. You guys are killing it for us, so thank you guys so much. God, we can't thank you enough. If you haven't done it yet, please get on iTunes and give us a review. 5 stars would be wonderful. Just say you're following instructions, following directions. We don't need a love letter. It's not for our egos. We swear to God, it is just for business purposes. If you want to do more than that, if you're one of these wonderful people, like we have a long list of our producers, you can do that by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you can make a donation there, and that is fantastic. There's some cool rewards. If you want to make a one-time donation, you can go to PayPal, and you can do that using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That's the one. Honestly, everybody, every penny is so appreciated. It's not even funny. People might think like, I'm not going to donate $1 to Patreon. Who cares about that? we see someone gave us $1. It's more than just $1. We're like, wow, that's amazing that someone took it. It means the world to us, and it really does help. And dollars add up. So anything is helpful, and or nothing. It's up to you guys. Honestly, we're here, and we're going to put the show out either way. But we would appreciate it. So all that aside, Jimmy, never mind all of that. Let's get down to business.
Let's skip the Windy City for now.
Skip it. Can't wait to be there. But right now, we have to focus.
It's going to be cold.
We have to focus on some scum right now, Jimmy. Let's bullseye. We need to.
Scum is warm.
It's going to be warm inside. It's going to be warm in Lincoln Hall. We're going to get it heated up there. But let's get into the crime here. Like I said, there's not a lot of sports here today. Now, some of this episodes you get a lot of sports. The guy had a long career. We talk about that too, stats and this and that. This you're getting nothing.
Okay.
This is straight asshole crime from start to finish.
All right.
So this will be fun. This is a little aside for us here. Let's talk about a guy named John Alexander Riccardi. Okay. John Alexander Riccardi. We're going to know him as Dean through the episode here. We're going to call him Dean.
Why?
Exactly. No fucking idea. He's going to go by Dean.
What the fuck?
I feel like it's for a reason. Okay, he's born in 1936.
Guys, this is James Petrogallo. We're going to call him Ted.
It makes no sense. I have a theory. I have a theory on this. Okay, he's born in 1936 in New York. Okay, Riccardi. He's an Italian guy. I can relate to this.
Yeah.
It's funny too because I know some Riccardis, and that's a very common last name. Very, very common last name. But he's born in New York in 1936. So. Think about when James Dean was popular.
Okay.
How old was he? Late teens. Late teens. So that's a cool name if you grew up then. Okay. But Dean. Now, also, he grows up in New York, but he moves out to California.
Oh, okay.
He moves out to California, Southern California.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's trying to reinvent himself. And if you're John, hey, I'm John the Ginn from back east. Yeah, I worked at my uncle's pizza place. That's not cool.
John
but if you're
Riccardi, back in New York, that's like Tom Smith.
It's exactly. But if you're Dean and you're in California, you can put a different spin on it. You can be anybody you want.
Roll some cigarettes up in your sleeve and buy a leather jacket.
Especially if you're a con man.
Yeah.
You can really do
Is that what it is?
That's the other thing. If you're a con man and, just a general criminal, you also might want to have A, an alias, and B, just, hey, reinvent yourself. Fuck it. Have some fun. Let's have some pretend time. What do you say?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Not enough adults are pretending out there, Jimmy. I think that's what we need here. There's a little pretend time. And old Dean here, he's pretending.
Okay.
He heads out to Venice Beach.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice. Southern California, because he's very much into the bodybuilding scene. He's an amateur bodybuilder.
Okay.
He's very much into that.
He likes Muscle Beach.
It's a bodybuilding. Our guy's a bodybuilder, so we'll put it that way. We're not going to get a lot of sports because this was in the 70s. Yeah. He's a bodybuilder, and he was like an amateur bodybuilder and does some amateur stuff, amateur competitions, but this is not well documented.
Okay.
Mid-70s amateur bodybuilding competitions from 40 years ago.
And write that down online.
Not a big deal. Didn't happen. It's odd. He wasn't changing his Wikipedia page. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, this guy, actually, which is interesting.
Page, once posed on Muscle Beach.
Oils himself up very well.
Regularly.
Gets 100% oil coverage all on his own. That's a stat, I think, for bodybuilders. That's a good one.
I'd be impressed with that if you can get to
What's your oil coverage? What's your oil coverage, buddy? It's like, 100%. What do you bench?
What about you?
What do you bench? What do you curl? And, what's your oil coverage situation? How could you do that?
Spread it on a bed and roll around in it. How else would you get your back?
What are you, 82? I'm 84. We should get together. You can fill in my 16. I'll fill in your 18, and we're going to be 100%.
Get my spine.
It's beautiful. So they're going to take care of each other. It's Venice Beach and that area too, all around. He goes to different gyms. He's known as a personable guy too. He's one of these guys too. It's hard to explain all these guys if you're not from back there, but like some of these guys, some of these Italian New York guys, they're just talkers.
Yeah.
In a way where I don't know what it is. They can talk people around in circles.
It's how they get them to pay them to fucking protect them.
But it's not even that. It's a weird thing. And to people back east, that's just an annoying asshole.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh Christ, this guy never shuts the fuck up. But when you go out of that area, when people haven't seen it, they think maybe the person's dynamic.
Yeah.
They don't get that they're just never shut the fuck up and they're kind of annoying and they're pretty much full of shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know where they're from. It's not nobody's really like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's something to be said about being able to lie to when looking in someone's eyes.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's the worst.
But whenever you hear this, and we hear it about killers on both of our shows and all that, whenever you hear someone say, I believed him, he looked me in the eye and told me they didn't do it.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything. Not to anybody.
Right.
It shouldn't mean shit to you. That's someone knows they need to make eye contact when they lie.
Right.
Good liars know that.
Right.
And so if someone's a liar, they probably are practiced at it and they're going to know that.
Yeah.
And that's where this guy is.
Zero emotion, zero regret, doesn't care about anything. That's how you fucking get away with a lie.
That's how you get away with lies. So I feel like when you go outside, and like I said, I hate to throw my own my own people here under the bus, but there's a certain something with that, and I can't stand those guys. Like, I really can't. Growing up, whenever those guys are around, I shut down. I get just super quiet, and I'm just like, I can't
glaze over.
I can't take it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucking annoying when someone comes in and they're loud and not in a fun way.
No.
But they're acting like it's a fun way, but it's calculated
There's
and it's
something
full of
missing
shit
inside them.
And there's a con going and there's a game being played. I can't stand that.
Because there's
so
a
much
gain
of that
for them somewhere.
Yeah, they're
Whether
looking
it's
to
personal just approval of people, which is like my dad's like that, where he just has to have people like him, and he's a bullshitter.
Yeah,
when you're
you got a little of that in you too.
A little bit.
Yeah, genetics are a motherfucker. You didn't know your dad till later, but genetics are a son of a bitch.
It happens.
You don't do it in a bad way though. That's
right.
the thing.
He does it to just have people love him. And, and
you're genuinely interested in people, like some kind of fucking weirdo. Yeah, it's super weird. I don't get it. Wow, I don't know where you get that from.
Depressing.
I'm like, where's my closet? I'm not in here.
It's because I'm trying to just make sure that everybody else feels shitty like I do. I don't know what it is.
You feeling terrible? Yeah.
Always, fucking every day.
Not you. You're asking people. How you feel?
Yeah,
good?
you feel
bad?
shitty too, right?
Bad?
You hate yourself?
Yeah.
Good. Tell me.
Tell me. This guy here, I think he's got a little bit of that, a little bit of the game. He can talk, and also too, he knows how to be scary.
Yeah.
Also, he's got this.
That's another level of something missing, that you need to not just tell people all about you and relate to them, but you have to make them fear you, and that's fucking terrifying.
That's some gangster shit, and back on everywhere. But this specific type, I know very well about that, because they're very personable. Mm-hmm. They're very, they're very gregarious. They get along. Everybody's buddy. But then they flip on a dime, and they're scary.
Yeah,
and they can be quiet and scary, and that's
they're a predator
because they're sick son of a bitches. Right. That's what it is. So this guy though, he's at the gym. He's always just hanging out. He's a gym rat in the 70s in California, which it sounds like probably had a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before they started shaving.
I was just going to say that, and just he is knee deep in giant muffs reeking of suntan lotion and not even baby oil back then. They weren't even put SPF fucking negative 25. Just like a magnifying glass, a liquid magnifying. That's what they buy, liquid magnifying glass. You put it on and you have cancer in 3 minutes. It's great.
And then 2 years later, when they realize that makes your body sweat is amplified when you put body fucking baby lotion on, you gotta mask that. You gotta put that pina colada scent
That's
in,
it. There you go.
And smell like a Hawaiian tropic model.
And then you smell like a Hawaiian whorehouse, and then here you are. With a giant
pineapple
muff.
You want to fuck.
And this guy, and this guy trying to a pilf, and this guy trying to bullshit you.
Yeah,
it's funny that this whole scene, this whole kind of bodybuilding scene in the 70s was a real. Like there's a clear delineation between people who just go to the gym and work out a little bit and want to be in shape, and these like gym rat bodybuilder people.
Isn't it strange too that like if you just go to the gym to work out a little bit and be in shape, that lengthens your life. Like you go to
sometimes
make yourself live a little longer, whereas these guys, like this shortens it dramatically.
Yeah, they're doing weird shit to their body that was never intended at all.
Everything they say about things in moderation, they're not playing, especially including exercise. Like,
no, it is.
You can't be out there running miles and deadlifting a Volkswagen and expecting that shit's not going to break your body down.
That's yeah. You see people. It's so funny. Like people jog all the time, and some of our favorite listeners listen while they jog. Linda Prost, hello.
Oh, she's
always listening to us while she runs marathons and things like that. I don't know what the hell you people are doing out there. I really don't understand
At some point, it's damage. It's not helping you.
You're destroying your knees. I'm like a tall guy. Like I see anything that could hurt your knees. I'm like, you're just going to mess your knees up because
shredding them.
I've had bad knees since I was 12. So growing just destroyed my knees basically too fast. So I see that and I'm like, God, what the fuck are you people doing? I can't do anything that's not. I can't do a sport that's not like, or not even a sport. I can't exercise unless there's a competition.
Physical activity is
physical activity is great, but I have to have a point. You know what I mean? Like if I was gonna ride an exercise bike, you have to be next to me and we have to be racing, or we have to be like, there has to be something like that. Like I'll play basketball for 5 hours and that's fine, but I'm not getting on a Stairmaster for 6 minutes because I'd be so fucking bored. I can't do it. There's just no motivation for it, and I just after 3 pumps of it, I'm like, okay, and I'll just wander off somewhere. I can't take it.
I've been on the elliptical. That's my gig. Is that I get up. That's how I watched All of It's Sunny.
Oh, good.
And I did that on the elliptical every goddamn night for 3 weeks, and now it's becoming like a habit that I want to go. But at first, same thing. If there's nothing, there's nobody to talk to, and there's nothing to watch. Like I can't do cardio stuff at all. That's not a plan for me.
I need competition to make it right.
Whether competition or a point.
Or a point. Either one is fucking. Either one works for me.
It's funny though. Otherwise, I wasn't watching.
Well, good then. Happy for the elliptical. Now you get some references.
At me, maybe I'll do that and watch The fucking Wire.
Yeah. By the way, that made me crazy. Everybody hears me talk about The Wire constantly. HBO tweeted at the podcast and then said, "We hear Wisman sucks. We hear you haven't heard The Wire yet." And I'm like, this motherfucker does nothing to earn a mention of any kind. He literally does nothing. He literally shrugs his shoulders and goes, I don't know, I didn't see it, even though you've been telling me for fucking years to watch it. Does nothing.
And HBO's like, hey.
I am pumping this out to hundreds of thousands of people every week making fucking references, and they're like,
for 2 million
hey,
people,
asshole.
They say, hey, this shitbag hasn't watched this yet.
It makes me crazy. So, hey, HBO, go fuck yourself. Fuck you, HBO. Kiss my fucking ass. Reference bullshit ever again. Fuck you.
Jimmy P spent years.
You're getting no Wire references. I'm not making any Larry Sanders references. Sopranos, Deadwood. I had Deadwood next. It was all lined up for Deadwood references once you watch The Wire. Yeah, you're never going to watch that either, even though I gave you the DVDs. You're not going to fucking watch it. So I'm going to make references about that once you finally watch The Wire in 10, 12 years. We'll see. So this guy, back onto this Riccardi here, Dean, he's going to these gyms, and like I was saying, there's a definite delineation because these are the people who are at the gym from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like these aren't the evening warriors. Yeah, these are like, I was reading a bunch of articles about this culture basically, because there's not a lot, like I said, in terms of amateur, in terms of like statistics to give. So I'm trying to figure out what this guy was doing and get in his world. Yeah. And there's this reporter who does like, kind of I'm going to go in and live this life for a minute, one of those.
An expose, like undercover, not undercover, but
not even an expose. Just I'm going to go live this, and because it was like a culture. So he's like, hey, it's like a report on this culture. Just see what these people are doing. People like, hey, they see people working out on Venice Beach all the time and that sort of thing. And this guy was like, he said, to my amazement, I walked into Gold's Gym one morning at 10 a.m. and the gym was completely crowded.
What?
Not a machine, not a wait to be
available.
Nothing available. And everyone's like, well, it's not just people dicking off either. Like these guys are fucking working. Like there's, they have a competition tomorrow.
Terrible life.
And he said, I looked around and said to myself, does anybody work?
Yeah.
Does any of these people work?
That's what they're doing.
They're
working now.
But if you're not doing competitions and making money, which 90% of them aren't, you have to be a fucking scammer like this guy.
All right.
To live this lifestyle, this guy has to be a con artist,
make money,
a burglar.
Yeah.
He's a prolific burglar. This guy, absolutely like a top tier cat burglar of the highest order.
Wow.
This guy, he's a scumbag. He's a liar. He's a burglar, and there's way worse. He is also. It's coming. This is a fucked up story involving some interesting people and a surprise that you're going to go, holy shit!
So he's spending all day at the gym, and then spending all night robbing, stealing, womanizing.
Really? Oh, he likes the women too.
He does.
He likes women.
New York Guinea.
Come on. He likes women. He likes
out there with a New York accent. That's as far. From New York
why do you think he's calling himself Dean?
Yeah.
He's calling himself Dean for the ladies.
Yeah.
John be fine back. Hey, I'm John. How you doing? That's fine for a guy with the ladies. Hey, I'm Dean. He's going to be fucking Dean. It's different. That's the other thing too. Like he'll cover up his accent sometimes and pull that off. It's a trick we pull once in a while. We'll pull that off so you don't know.
That's an interesting thought though. Like why do that?
Because people think of you a certain way when you have a certain accent.
There's a prejudice to people from New York.
Well, from any accent. It's not just that. Or you hear a Southern accent. If you hear someone go, "Hey, how you doing?" You're like, "You're a dipshit." Whether they're not or that guy, he could be the smartest fucking guy in the world. He could have a doctorate in physics, and you're a dipshit because you have that accent. And same thing with a fucking someone goes, "Hey, how you doing?" You're like, "This fucking mook." You know what I mean? Like Jesus Christ. Yeah, all right with your fucking Paco Rabanne. Get the fuck back. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple less sprays next time. Easy on the pump handle, guy. That sort of thing. But it is what it is. So he's doing this. He dates a lot of women in the area. Tons of women. He's all over the place. Dates very attractive women too.
Yeah.
And think about this. In the late 70s here, he is over 40 years old. He's 42, 43, 44. He's dating 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds, very attractive women, models, that sort of thing. It's L.A. I mean, he's out there. And in that, if you can talk a good game.
Do that, you've got to have a fucking bankroll to impress a girl.
And have a good game, too. That's the thing. His bankroll is, he has short bursts of money. He's not a guy who has a big estate and all that, but he'll have a pocket full of cash. He'll have, it'll be flashy because he's a fucking burglar, and his life comes in scores, basically.
Easy go.
Yeah, it comes in scores. So I mean, hey, we had a good score last night,
but also got to spend
partying
fast
tonight
so that people can't see it.
That's the thing. Well, not only that, it's like watch Goodfellas. It's Henry Hill talking about that whole thing. It comes in, it goes out. You got to keep it going. God, I love that goddamn movie.
Henry Hill. Fairly recently.
Yeah, he did a couple of years ago. Yeah, for a minute when you said that too, I pictured Ray Liotta. I'm like, Ray Liotta's fine. I mean, his skin isn't, but the rest of him is fine.
Henry Hill.
Yeah,
what a piece of shit he was.
He's fucking dead.
He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah, but anyway, 1980, he finds a woman that he likes here. He finds a woman. Dean finds Connie. Okay. She is Constance Hopkins Navarro. Is her name. They begin dating about 1980. She goes by Connie. Yeah. So we're going to call her Connie. Connie.
How cool is that her first name has Con in it?
Yeah, right?
It's perfect.
It is perfect. She's being connied. Yeah. He's going to connie her good over here. She attended high school. She graduated in 1956. Okay. I'm sorry. She graduated in 1960. Okay. From high school. She was a swimmer in high school. That sort of thing. They have something from her yearbook, which is funny. Her 1956 yearbook, or when she was a freshman. Yeah. It's one of the categories they ask, because there's like a little, everybody has like answer a couple questions. Suppressed desire.
What?
In 1956.
What the fuck are you asking that for?
Suppressed desire. You can't ask 14-year-old girls what their suppressed desire is on paper. That's fucking creepy.
That is the president of the yearbook committee saying, who can I fuck? Like, which one of these will say that their suppressed desire is, I love giving blowjobs and I can't do it. Not
possibly. I feel like back then it might not have. Back then you'd just be like, hey, feeling pretty gay today, and everyone would be like, great, good for you, pal. That's good. Well, now you'd say it too. You wouldn't care, but you would think he's happy to suck cock. That's what he's happy about. Not I'm happy to be alive, or maybe he's happy to be alive and sucking cock. We're not saying that. I'm sure he's thrilled to suck cock. What we're talking about is just to be happy gay. So in the 50s, everything was different. So suppressed desire might just be,
I'm thrilled for the sock hop.
What do you want to do with your life, but you don't want to tell anybody? What's, that sort of thing. Yeah, who are you taking to the sock hop? Her suppressed desire is to understand algebra.
Jesus.
So she's a nice girl, simple here.
She's a nerd.
Her ambition is to be successful in college.
Okay.
And this is weird. Expression. I don't know why expression. It just says I can't do it is her answer. I don't know.
Sounds to me like that's
that
50s America. She's like, I'm not allowed.
I'm not. I'm screwed up here.
I have to wear this poodle on my fucking skirt every day.
Yeah, no shit, right?
And I hate it. I'm allergic to dogs. This is bullshit.
She completes school in 1960. Mm-hmm. She completes school. She works a little bit as a model. She's a very pretty blonde woman. Really? She's very pretty. You could see her, especially like 60s. You look at her and go, yeah, that's like 60s model looking woman. You know what I mean? Like she has that 60s look. Yeah. Like not like a hippie, but like that mid 60s, like she should have go-go boots on type of look. You know what I'm saying? Like
and her name's Constance. Like
and her name's, that's very...
I'm picturing the guys from fucking...
Trading Places. Constance Fry. Yeah, exactly.
Song that was.
It's awful, but
was
that
made up for that movie, by the way? Or was that some sort of song that everybody's supposed to know?
It seems like
I've never fucking heard it.
We didn't go to boarding school either. Those were upper crust fuck bags, like we talked about fucking last week. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those were complete douchebags.
What a horrible song it was.
Yeah, those were like lovey. Those were those guys where they had pipes in.
What did they say? At any time you call. She's a whore. Did you just call her a slut?
They're calling her Constance will fulfill your needs, winter, spring, or fall.
Anybody can fuck her at any time.
Constance, and let's
have tea over
and we're gonna sing it like
we're gonna
in this.
Sing it to the whole lobby of the country club.
That was their idea of a joke,
and also their way of paying homage to a wonderful person.
Not to mention they harmonize like a motherfucker over here. It's like a doo-wop group. Somebody comes in with like a burning oil barrel, places it in the middle.
Except for doo-wop groups that are
not a doo-wop group. They were like a fucking barber, or like they had like cardigans on. They were like Dion's backup band.
A doo-wop group actually fucking pays respect to people. These guys are just being assholes, calling a sweet girl a slut.
They were Dion's backup band singing about Run Around Sue. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Holy Christ.
That whining motherfucker.
Unbelievable.
That's a guinea, another one, by the way. We had to hide, by the way. Do you guys realize that? Do you know, like, look at all the 50s songs? You can play a game. If you put on Pandora, put on 50s rock and roll, and play Black or Guinea. Because every single song is a black guy or a guinea. Every single one. And none of them sound like that because they all have very white-sounding names. You know what I mean?
Because fucking the Bible Belt wouldn't buy that shit if they knew.
True. It's funny, but that's...
greasy guinea or some black guy.
Yeah. Dion's... Alan Alda. You know what Alan Alda's real name is? You know what it is? Alphonse D'Abruzzo. That's his fucking name. Alphonse D'Abruzzo. That's his... I love Alan Alda, but if I ever met Alan Alda, we wouldn't discuss anything about his work or his life. I go, hey, Alphonse, what the fuck you covering up for? I get it when you first started, but fucking what about now? I think you're famous. I think you made it. I think maybe you could go, hey, guess what, everybody? I'm actually a fucking guinea hardcore. Super Italian. Alphonse D'Abruzzo. Maybe you could have helped, pave the way for people with names like, I don't know, Petrogallo, you fucking asshole.
I've had to put a menu up every time I've eaten spaghetti because I didn't want you fucks to catch on.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. You go, I don't know what this is. How do you pronounce that? So Connie works as a model. Like I said, she looks like a model.
She's adorable.
She was on the early Price is Right show. Actually, she made a couple appearances, being one of the spokespeople.
Oh, is that right?
Like when it first started. Yeah, they wouldn't use the same people.
That shitty TV that you're bidding on.
Yeah, you would present. There'd be like a washing machine, and she would like put her hand up and down it and smile and go like that. And
she was sexually assaulted by Bob Barker.
I'm sure she probably was. Yes, but I don't know if he got more saltier as he got older though, because this is back in the day. We're talking like early 60s.
He's dead, right?
He's dead, Bob Barker. I'm not even sure if this was that exact incarnation of the show, because she was on the early Prices. I'm not sure if it's because you know how things change. Who knows if it was like the Tonight Show where it had like three shitty hosts and then they got Johnny Carson. Actually, they weren't shitty, but they just moved them. Anyway, then she gets married. Okay, she gets married in the mid 60s. She marries James. His name is, but everyone calls him Mike. But his real name is James.
What is with you people?
I don't know.
Everybody's got a James,
Mike,
Frederick. We'll call him Mike.
It's James Raoul, and he goes by Mike, which Raoul is way worse than Frederick in terms of being far from Mike. James Raoul Navarro, we'll call him by Mike. June 7th, 1967, they have a son.
And that was her first. her name was Constance
Hopkins.
Hopkins,
and then she marries him, so she's Navarro. They have a son on June 7th, 1967. David Michael Navarro. You might know the name Dave Navarro.
Holy shit.
By the fact that he's a goddamn huge famous rock star.
That kid is.
This is Dave Navarro.
He's not named after him.
No, this is Dave
famous.
Navarro. This is actually Dave Navarro.
This baby's penis is eventually going to be in Carmen Electra.
And several others.
Hundreds of
others. Dave Navarro, if you don't know who he is, you've probably been under a rock. Everybody knows fucking Dave Navarro.
You're ridiculous.
Yeah, you've seen him on TV as goddamn reality shows with tattoos and shit like that. Jane's Addiction, Red Hot Chili Peppers for an album he filled in there. But I mean, he's like original Jane's Addiction, 1986. He joined that band. So
one of the quote unquote sexiest men ever.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that looks like he's trying to seduce you just standing there. You know what I mean? And
great skin, great facial hair, everything about him.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's like Johnny Depp if he wasn't an asswipe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what he reminds me of. You know what I'm saying?
Johnny Depp could play a guitar worth a fuck. Like Johnny Depp tries. Yeah. He wants to be a musician. He's in that fucking band with
every rock star's in a fucking
Cooper.
band.
He's in the band.
Yeah,
with
he's
Cooper,
in a band. Him,
Hollywood Vampires or some shit.
Yeah, they all think they're rock stars. It's terrible. Anyway. It's terrible. Athletes think they're this. They think they're that. Everybody
Johnny Depp wishes he could be as handsome and talented as Dave Navarro.
So now that we've drooled over Dave Navarro for fucking 5 minutes here, but yeah, Dave Navarro goes on to be on the Ink Master show and all that, and like we said,
he's got great tattoos too. He's very cool.
A lot of tattoos here. Yeah, he's got a bunch of tattoos. He was on that, so he's. Anyway, he's born in 1967. Okay. Now he's a big star.
To these two.
Yeah, let's find out how he became who he is, shall we? Because this is all tied into Dean Alexander. Weird story so far, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming. Let's see. It's all gonna come together.
All right.
Dave's a happy-go-lucky kid.
Yeah.
Happy, nice kid, happy, growing up in Southern California.
I've never seen an interview of him where he's like angry.
No, but he looks a little gothy. He's got like a little. He looks sad.
A little emo.
He's a little sad looking. Yeah, he's got eye makeup on.
Yeah, you put mascara on a dude. He's had some problems.
He's got problems. Yeah, there's something wrong with him inside. Not saying there's wrong to do that, but he's there's something emotionally that's making the mascara be on his eyes. So they're married for a bit here. Mike Navarro and Connie. They get divorced in 1975. David and Dave and
Dave
Connie.
Navarro's parents are divorced.
They're divorced. They divorced in 1975. They stayed fine though. They weren't enemies with the enemies. They stayed friends. They lived somewhat near each other. She had an apartment with David in West Hollywood.
Interesting.
And they would basically, they shared custody. So Dave would go over there for a few days. It was go over there. There was no contention.
He grew up in L.A.?
He grew up in L.A. Yeah, grew up in Southern California with a model mom and a dad with a stupid name, and that's it. A stupid nickname.
And all this talent waiting to be harvested.
Absolutely. So they divorced, like I said, Connie and Mike in 1975, and in 1980, she meets Dean. Connie meets Dean, like we said, and they hit it off. Dean is pretty magnetic. She likes him. He's a real handsome guy, this Dean. God, we sound like we just...
we love cock.
But he's a handsome guy. He's a bodybuilder. He's super muscular. He goes by Dean.
We're not saying anything they don't want us to say, by the way.
No, it's
Dave
true.
Navarro does all that calculatedly so that women fucking...
No, he's making love to the camera. He knows that. One thing he did that was really cool, far off the subject, I saw he was on some talk show, and he did a thing where I guess he has people over his house constantly. He's one of those people. It's always got people coming over, having parties. Hey, come on over.
I'll come hang.
And he would do a thing where for a whole year, everybody that came over had to take a picture. He took a picture of them. So he did this like kind of a flash book of all the pictures of everybody that was at his house for a year. Cool. And it was the coolest shit. And it was like every famous person on the face of the earth.
Ridiculous.
Very braggy, but I don't think I feel like for him he didn't even look at it that way because he's so used to those people coming over. He just thought it was, hey, look at all my friends.
He has it all there in his head too. He's just like, I'd like to maybe look at this one day.
It's kind of a cool thing.
Because by the way, if you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo, what the fuck's his name? Sylvester Stallone.
What's his name?
Matthew McConaughey. You have all these guys parade through your house. Eventually, you're going to forget that one of those amazing people was there. So let's maybe take a picture and prove
it just looks cool too to have a whole little, your life in a thing here. So Dean comes in here, and he seems to have money. Like I said, he's flashy. He talks about, we'll call it alluding, basically. He's always talking about alluding to mob ties.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm connected and things like that. And, she doesn't know who the fuck. He's got a New York accent. He's got a Guinea last name.
It's possible.
He's got a knot in his pocket. He says he's got money.
Who am I to say it didn't happen?
Yeah, I'm sure he's a gangster. Sure, sounds good. She doesn't seem to mind, which you got a young son. You probably shouldn't be bringing a gangster around him. But
John
he seems like a real nice guy.
Well.
Plus, he seems like a real nice guy. He treats Dave well.
Yeah.
Dave likes him.
Okay.
I mean, they like each other. He doesn't tell her, by the way, that he's just a really good burglar.
Right.
He doesn't tell her that.
Right.
He keeps his own residence too. He doesn't like move right in and be like one of those guys. He keeps his own apartment the whole time.
It's hard to move in.
That's the other thing too. Yeah. Hey, I gotta go burgle for 4 or 5 hours. See you in the morning.
Show up at 4 a.m. with a rare lamp.
With a rare lamp and a ski mask.
Right.
Like, hey, I had a Fabergé egg in the other hand.
I was just over at the bank working.
You know how it goes. I was exercising.
Yeah.
That's all right. I got to do cardio in the morning.
The lamp.
Road work. That's road work. You got to go run around. But he stays over Connie's frequently because, whatever. They're together.
Yeah.
During this time, though, Dave and Dean become really close. Okay. They become tight. The guy Dean's really good with Dave. They talk. Dave regarded him as just someone he trusted.
Yeah.
A lot. Now, by 1982, their relationship starts to fall apart. Not Dean and Dave, Dean and Connie. The relationship starts to fall apart a bit. 2 years, and
it's not meant.
Yeah, they're just not meant for each other.
Phony, your shit's not going to stay together.
Yeah, you're talking about mob ties. You're burgling. You're an asshole at this point. They break up. They get back together. They break up. It's one of those things. Which
so what you been doing? Oh, same old same.
That's tough too, man. Because my parents were divorced. I remember my mom having a boyfriend, and then this one, they break up, and then she's upset. And she's talking to my aunt about it, and I'm like, can we just not? Can none of this be an issue right now? Can we just? I'm 9. I don't care what happened on your fucking date, okay, lady? I don't give a shit.
I don't want to pay. You had to pay.
I don't care.
Right.
I just fuck, man. You know what I'm saying?
Witness
I just want that Hulk Hogan wrestling figure. Can you get me that, and we'll discuss it?
Go get me that animal, that stuffed animal that has the chains that it can break its arm.
Yeah,
apart.
do that.
What was that one called? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Animal, the troll thing that had handcuffs.
Oh,
you could put the handcuffs together and then break them apart.
I don't remember what that was, but I remember that.
It was badass.
Yeah, we had toys that didn't go with anything.
No,
it was just like
Teddy
a standalone
what the fuck
thing.
was Teddy Ruxpin for?
To creep people out?
Yeah, they eventually made a fucking TV show about it, but it just read a book that you were reading.
Well, so when you're older and you have a little brother with a Teddy Ruxpin, you can put a Wu-Tang Clan tape in it and watch Teddy Ruxpin sing "Bring the Ruckus." That's why. That's how you could do that. I did. My little brother did not think that was okay.
On tape.
It is. It is
so
for
dumb.
kids. Yeah, and I can't read to my kids, so I don't have time, or I don't have to feel like reading to my kids. So here,
inanimate object.
This thing is going to pretend to read to you. Its lips are kind of moving. It seems like somebody.
Its mouth opens and closes.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
So January 1983, Connie decides it's over.
Yeah,
over for good. She decides that she's ending this relationship. She tells him she no longer wants to see him, but she still talks to him and sees him. But she says it's over. It's over. It's over. Then some weird shit starts happening. Shockingly, January 1983. Here, same month. There's a guy named George Hofer. He's an executive for an ad agency, and he meets with Connie to discuss a job. They meet
modeling stuff.
They meet possibly that, or even at the ad agency. I'm not sure. Either way, he's interviewing her about a job opportunity. They meet at a restaurant, public place. That's sort of not like they're in a hotel room or anything. After the dinner, they're in the parking lot. They part ways. They shook hands, and he gives her a kiss on the cheek, which is kind of normal back then. Yeah. It's kind of like
it's a Hollywood thing too.
It's a Hollywood thing. It's okay, dear, I'll see you.
See you around, love.
It's that sort of shit
on the cheek.
Yeah,
I gave him a British accent, but whatever.
Whatever. Now, George Hofer, the Brit. Right. So it's just a shake hand, kiss on the cheek, very polite. It's a polite society thing. Yeah, especially if it's paired with a shake, it's very polite.
I often kiss women's hands. I'm kind of washing my hands of that and backing away because it looks creepy. It looks a polite thing.
Like I've said,
creepy as fuck.
Like I've said on social media in many places. Yeah. You're like calls waitresses dear years old. That's excuse me, dear.
I say it all the time.
What are you, 80? My grandfather used to say that shit. It's funny as shit. I love it.
It's me trying to be polite, but because I don't get social cues sometimes, and I don't. Maybe I don't know what it is. I'm a fucking asshole. That's what it is.
No, you enjoy it. You feel like you're being gallant at that point, and you're doing that sort of deal. So the next day, Hofer, he's in his hotel room. Yeah. He's going to go back home soon. He lives in Connecticut.
Sure.
He's going to go back home. He's in his hotel room. He gets a phone call from a guy with a New York accent who says he's Connie's boyfriend. Doesn't say his name. The guy is super fucking pissed off. He's in a rage on the other end of the phone, yelling at this Hofer, demanding to know why this guy's kissing his girlfriend. Why are you kissing my girlfriend?
Oh, boy.
Hey, asshole. Yeah, this is me. Yeah. How you doing? No, you don't need to know who I am. I'm Connie's fucking boyfriend. Yeah. What are you doing kissing my fucking girlfriend?
What the shit?
This guy's some ad executive guy. He's not used to this. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking to. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. The man on the other end of the phone says, if Hofer doesn't stop seeing Connie, he's going to, now what do you think I'm going to say here?
Stab.
He's going to hurt Hofer, right? No. He threatens to break her knees.
Whoa.
I'll break her knees, which is a really odd fucking
I kind of like it though.
I'm
impressed.
It's super strict. It's creative.
It's super mind fucky.
It's creative.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's unexpected. Honestly,
if you care about her and you want to keep seeing her, you're going to see a fucking cripple.
Well, not even that. I think you're a good person and you don't want to see somebody's legs broken.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's that what it is. It's not even about.
You're breaking someone you care about's knees.
It's so weird.
But that's
I'm so
serious.
Crazy. I'll break her fucking knees. That's the other thing too.
It's the old Bill Burr bit that if you fuck with my daughter again, I'll beat your mom to death with the family dog. Like that thing. It's a complete mind fuck of making you visualize what you're gonna end up looking at.
I think he was just going for crazy. I am unstable. You don't fuck with me. And this guy,
whatever he's going after, he fucking achieved it.
He got it. Hofer said, "Oh, I am a happily married man. Yeah. I have no interest in Connie. Yeah. She's not interested in me. We're not." I'm just we're talking about a job. That's it.
To hire her.
Everything is fine. Whatever. Conversation ends. He says, all right, let's stay away from my fucking girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. The next day, Hofer's at the hotel room. He gets a call again from the same guy. And this guy, hey, asshole, me again. He's like, what the fuck now?
I haven't even seen her.
I've done nothing. Yeah, what now? This guy's harassing him. Now he tells Hofer that he knows Hofer's itinerary back to Connecticut. He has his home address there.
Oh, my God.
He says, how would you like it if I paid a visit to your wife in Connecticut? He's telling him shit like that. Hofer again's like, dude.
Listen.
No clue what you're talking about. Yeah. Not interested. Not romantically involved. Never touched her. Kissed her on the cheek goodbye as just a social gesture. Right. Meant nothing.
Matter of fact, I'm calling the Connecticut Police Department right now.
Yeah.
To let them know what you just said.
And he said, I'm going home. I'm leaving the next day. He's like, I have no interest in her. I'm not going to see her. Right. I'm just was going to hire her for a job out there. Right. I was just interviewing. I have no idea what you're talking about. Hofer thinks his rental car was broken into because his travel itinerary and his papers and personal information, address, and all that was in his car, and it was jostled about. Somebody broke in his car and found out all this information. You'd have to be like a burglar to do that, like a cat burglar or something like that, like a really good one.
Some skill.
Yeah, someone with a little bit of skill. He heads back to Connecticut because he lives there, and when he gets back there, he tells Connie about these phone calls. He's like, hey, I got a phone call. I would have done it on the spot.
Yeah.
But I think probably while he's
cell phones now.
While he's out there, he didn't want to tell her and then her say, hey, why are you doing that? And have this guy come fucking break his neck. So he's like, Jesus Christ.
He knows where he's at, obviously.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Riccardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder. Follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
And now back to the show.
February of that year, he goes to New York for 2 weeks. Dean goes to New York for 2 weeks, kind of leaves Connie alone. But it's said between the Hofer thing and when he goes to New York, so it's like a month period between January and February, he sees Connie 15 to 20 times. Okay. They get together in a friendly manner is what he says. We're not sure if it's a friendly manner or if he just showed up and stalked her. There's different things here. Okay. Mid-January, as we'll talk about, this is kind of when it happens here. It's pretty stalky, and especially the way it ends, it's stalky. Okay. He starts stalking her, basically. There's a woman named Marilyn Young, who's Connie's friend. Yeah. And she says in mid to late January of 1983, Dean broke into Connie's condo and forced her to sleep with him. What? Which is insanely weird. I'm not sure if there was sex involved, but he spent the night holding her and refused her to allow her to leave the bed. So he basically was like, "You're gonna fucking snuggle with me," and like, "I'm spooning you."
It's it.
That's
a big spoon.
Aggressive spooning, apparently. Yeah, forced spooning, which is not. I don't know how much.
That right?
It's something. It's something.
It's definitely an assault.
I feel like if you force a woman to do anything physical,
it's kind of rape.
With you, that's pretty rapey. I feel
assault.
like I don't know if it's rape, but it's something bad that I wouldn't fucking do personally.
Sexual assault.
Not crime and sports approved behavior, especially breaking in to do that.
Right.
That's the problem. Right. He broke into the condo and did that. He didn't he
kicked the door in.
Yeah. No, he doesn't kick the door, and he's smooth. He's a cat burglar. He breaks in. Wait till you see how he breaks into places.
He has a diamond cutter, like that circle suction cup thing.
Yeah.
To get in.
No, seriously, that's the type of shit he is. He's like one of those guys.
Snuggling.
So near the end of January, one time Connie's vehicle wouldn't start, and it just wouldn't start, and all of a sudden he pops up out of nowhere and he says, "Yeah, it's not starting because I fuck with the wires."
What the shit?
Like, I could do whatever I want to. But he's just trying to show her that I'm always here. Yeah. I can control your shit. Yeah. I can fuck with your car. I can get into your house anytime I want. It's mental abuse. It's stalking. It's mental abuse. She's very scared. Her friends here, Carl and Janet Rasmussen, say later on that she was very scared of him from the end of 1982. She was upset that he wouldn't leave her alone, but she didn't want to poke him either. Yeah. She didn't want to she tried to gently brush him off to be like, no, it's, oh yeah, we can still talk because we're still friends, because she was afraid of him. Yeah. She was trying to basically make him go away voluntarily.
And he's got to be enormous.
He's pretty big. He's 6 foot tall, but he's over 200 pounds of muscle. Yeah. He's at the gym every goddamn day, and he's a violent guy, and he's scared. Anybody who's capable of breaking into someone's house and forcing them to spoon with them is a scary person in my book. That's super weird.
And it's also not a sane person.
No, it's not a sane person here.
Screw loose.
Connie asked them to watch her condo, keep an eye on it because they're her neighbors, because she said she thought that she was being followed and that she thought that he breaks into her. She thought that Dean broke into her apartment all the time.
Also, I've got a child.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's at one point this Carl Rasmussen actually confronts Dean about this shit and says that he should be a man and leave her alone and fucking kind of she doesn't want to see you anymore.
I like you, Carl.
Yeah, Carl's good shit, man. He tries.
Carls are always good dudes. You never find a Carl.
Yeah, you don't find a lot of bad Carls.
It's rare to find a shithead Carl. They're always.
That's true. I'm sure someone's going to tweet at us murdering Carls.
My uncle Carl did some horrible things, but
yeah.
Your uncle Carl is he's an anomaly.
Your uncle's finger in your ass aside. Well,
Right.
Normally, Carls are fine.
Most Carls are pretty fucking great.
January 31st, 1983, Connie changes her locks, too, because she thinks maybe he made a key and has a key. She doesn't realize that he's a burglar and knows how to get in.
Credit card gets him in.
Yeah, so she changes her key. She put that in her day planner, so that was actually documented.
Wow.
Early February of 83, she agrees to meet with Dean to talk about his behavior. We need to discuss this shit because I'm uncomfortable. She's trying to reason with the man. Like, look, you're making me uncomfortable. If you like me, then why do you want to make me feel uncomfortable? Let's be cool.
Let's have a seat and like adults.
You leave me alone, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. So she
Don't
said...
make me fearful.
That's the thing. She said, and she even said she would not meet with him unless it took place in a public restaurant.
Yeah.
So Marilyn Young was supposed to pick Connie up from the meeting between those two. Before Marilyn got there, he takes out a gun. Pulls a gun out on Connie.
At the adult meeting, he brought a gun.
At the public place. He has a meeting with her in the restaurant, talks to her, everything seems fine, so they walk out together. She's not afraid of him at that point, and he pulls a gun on her and says, "You're coming away with me for the weekend."
Oh, boy.
That's what she says. She was scared shitless.
He's an asshole. He forces cuddling, and then he forces vacation.
He's forcing vacation. It's weird, though. He's forcing things that women normally bitch at men to do.
Right.
He's forcing her to snuggle and go on vacation. It's so fucking weird. He's gonna fucking pull a gun out and go get your nails done now. Do them. Get your toes too. I want you to be comfortable.
See this knife? I'll jam it in your neck. You don't go get a massage.
You don't get all that shit scraped off the bottom of your fucking feet and make them soft and beautiful. I swear to God, it's not gonna happen.
Actually, I might do that to my wife.
There you go.
The fucking mat outside of the shower is white. Like my wife got all the white mats for the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like by the toilet, by the fucking sink, by the shower.
The full set.
The only one that's gross is one by the shower, and she washes her goddamn feet in there, and then she gets out, and then they're gross still. Go to the goddamn people with the fish and make them eat that shit off. I don't care what you do. Go somewhere and get that shit scraped off your feet.
That's what he's doing, but he's doing it at gunpoint.
I'd hire him.
Just to get him to go.
Criminal.
He absolutely is. She agrees to go away for the weekend because she's scared.
Yeah,
and she says
going to Turks and Caicos.
That's it. We're doing it. It's going to be beautiful. Go to a resort. You're going to get room service.
Beautiful.
We're going to go snorkeling.
We're going to go look at the goldfish under the water.
Yeah. So, but since they don't even go away, she doesn't want to go with him because he was going to go. He wanted to go somewhere, and she said, "Let's just get a hotel in the LA area. Let's just get a hotel in the city." She said, that would make her basically feel less likely that
they could have been in this hotel, James.
They might have been right here in Glendale. She thought this was good because it would be hard for him to hurt her and not have anyone hear if they were in a hotel room. Like if he shot her, people would hear it, which people get killed in hotel rooms all the time. It's a really I'm going to kill you when we're done with this. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I figured. So that's what happens. He'll stuff you in the Mike suitcase. So during the weekend, Connie made telephone calls. Like, he let her call her friends and family, and she said where she was and who she was with.
Yeah.
She didn't say she was, holy shit, get me out of here, call the cops. Everybody said she sounded nervous, but at the end of the weekend, he allowed her to go home.
Yeah.
He didn't kidnap her. He said, okay, thanks for spending the weekend with me. Have a good one. And they parted ways again.
Yeah. You can buy a hooker for that.
That's the thing. You don't have to kidnap people.
Right. You could pay somebody to do that with you.
All of her friends and her ex-husband, Mike, they all thought this was kidnapping.
Yeah.
They're all like, that's kidnapping,
that
what he did.
is.
You say, we're going away for the weekend at gunpoint. That's not romantic.
Right.
The gun makes it not romantic.
The only difference is that you're giving her the end date of when your kidnapping is over. Like, if Elizabeth Smart heard that her kidnapping was over in a few years, it still doesn't make a fucking difference.
No, I don't think that makes it better at all. Yeah.
It doesn't make
still kidnapped her.
Yeah, it's still kidnapping.
Over the next 2 months, Dean will pop up uninvited at restaurants. Like, Connie went out with and had dinners with friends, and he would pop up. He popped up at a dinner at her ex-husband's house, at Mike's house. She would get phone calls, and people would hang up on the other end. She knew it was him. He would go to several different occasions. Connie and Marilyn Young were at a gym at a fitness center, and he would stand outside staring at her through the window as she exercised. Like,
slow tugging.
She's on the Stairmaster. He's out on the sidewalk. Yeah, just tugging away. It's super weird. He would also make midnight phone calls to Marilyn Young and ask about shit about Connie. Call someone up at midnight and be like, "What's up with Connie? Why isn't she like me?" and shit like that. Super fucking weird. Like, he's just doing shit that is
because of what you're doing right now.
Red flag.
Because this phone calls
red flags.
Fucking creepy. That's why.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
Connie started being so scared she wouldn't go anywhere by herself.
Yeah.
She would like, I'll have friends will you go here with me? Because she was scared he was going to pop up and, I don't know, drag her away for the weekend at gunpoint. She had an alarm system installed in her residence, which she thought would help a lot. He didn't give a shit because he had really good burglary skills and would break in anyway, would bypass the alarm. Just figured it out. It didn't even matter.
Yeah.
In February of 83, Connie invites Dean to a restaurant to have dinner with Marilyn Young and her boyfriend. So at this point, they get him, sit him down at a restaurant. They're like, let's try to treat him like an adult, which I think we're beyond that. But she said that Connie and Marilyn both said, please leave Connie alone. That's what this was a mature plea. Look, we're all here. We're all adults. Look at us. We're having glasses of wine. You know, you got the calamari. We're adults here.
But also,
you know what I'm saying?
This is, by the way, there's a lot of witnesses right now telling you that she's done with you. So
yes,
there's no way for
that's
you
the other thing.
To say she didn't give me any clues. I didn't know. I didn't know it was over. She
Bullshit.
keeps calling me.
I don't know, man.
She keeps answering the phone when I'm breathing heavy and telling her that I want to come by and open her up. I want to see what's inside of her. Like she keeps
things like
inviting
that.
me back over.
You know, I'm going to vivisect. We'll see how it goes.
Marilyn just told you we're all in agreement. She even told us that she doesn't want to see you anymore.
Yeah, and Marilyn said he was creepy during this. He said he agreed to leave her alone.
Yeah.
He said, I'll leave her alone. But she said the whole time he had a weird, angry smirk on his face. Like, man, I'll leave her alone. Yeah, like one of those.
Like he wants to say some smart ass.
Yeah, like he wants to go, I'll leave her alone.
Ditch.
I'll leave her, exactly. I was going to say, I'll leave her alone in a fucking box. That's where I'll leave her.
Leave her alone
she'll be
in
6
a
feet on the
grave.
fucking ground. That's where I'll leave. So after that, one time she's having dinner, or she's having breakfast with her friend Sue Jory and another guy, Craig Spencer, when this guy when Dean just pops up and sits down. Just pops up in the restaurant, sits down at the table like, hey, I'm here. Yeah, sorry I'm 5 minutes late. You know, that sort of thing.
How you guys been? I've been watching.
They said he said nothing.
What?
Dean didn't say a word. He sat down and stared at Connie for 3 to 4 minutes. He popped up out of nowhere, uninvited, sits down at the table, says nothing to anyone, and stares at her for 3 to 4 minutes. That is super creepy.
Real quickly, what kind of man is Spencer?
Hey, dude, what's your fucking problem?
Fuck is wrong with you?
Well, he does this, actually, but I mean, it's weird anyway. They were obviously a little creeped out by this whole thing, him just sitting there. And Spencer's like, I don't want to get involved. He doesn't know these people. That's her boyfriend. I don't fucking, what am I gonna do? I just met this, I don't know any of these people. He actually tries to break the silence. He just says, hey, I'm Craig. How you doing? You know, I'll treat the guy like a normal guy. Maybe he'll behave like a normal guy, which is what people do with psychopaths. Maybe if I just treat him like normal. So he tries to break the silence, tries to introduce himself. Dean reaches up, shakes his hand, but doesn't say anything or make eye contact with him. Keeps staring at Connie, but he's like, yeah. Here, shake your hand. How you doing?
So weird.
I'm rude, but I'm not rude. I'll still shake it. If someone puts their hands out, I'll fucking shake it. But then he gets up. This is very odd behavior here. He gets up. He makes like a gun gesture with his finger and his thumb.
The gun.
Yeah, does the little gun, four-finger deal, and then dropped his thumb like he dropped the hammer, and then he walked away. Did that at Connie, and then he walked away, and that was that. Never said a fucking word.
What the shit?
Never said a word. Super strange.
That's a police phone call.
I would say, hey, that was weird. But what do you say? He came and shook my hand and didn't say anything. That's
He came, sat down
to a public restaurant
for 100% silence for 5 minutes.
It's weird. It's something you'd want documented, but they're not like the police are going to go talk to him. He'd be like, I went to the fucking restaurant, I sat down.
See you around kidded me. What the fuck is that?
That's the thing. And he would have said, I don't know. I didn't know what they were talking about, so I stayed and I didn't say anything, and then I left because I was uncomfortable. And they would have went, oh, well, I don't know. What are you going to do? Cops can't get involved. But late February, Connie has difficulty. She can't get her sliding glass door open to her bedroom. There's a sliding glass door there. There's a balcony right outside it.
Like it's been off the track?
Like something's wrong with it. She can't get it open. So fucking sliding glass doors are terrible, especially those 70s ones. They'd work for 5 minutes. And if you had those later on, like they're so bad.
Any tweak in them? Over the years, people tripping over it. Because
dust and rocks and debris.
It's never fucking low so that you can walk over it. There's always that lip.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking kicks it.
It's the worst.
Bends the shit out of the frame. And of course, it never slides right.
Never. So
piece of shit design.
She gets Carl Rasmussen, who we talked about before, the neighbor over here, to look at it, and he sees that the bolt slat has been damaged. He takes it off and looks at it, and it's basically sawed almost all the way through. Like it's been sawed, this latch.
So somebody tried to break into it by cutting the lock.
Yeah, well, also, and where it was, Rasmussen tells her the only way that could have happened is if someone did it from the inside. From the inside of the bedroom, because it was from the... Yeah, so he said it had to be from the inside. He fixes something and reinstalls it, and he makes the door work again for her.
So he was trying to make it passable from the outside, but he did it from the inside.
Yeah, so he could break in easier
later.
Make it easier. At this point, she's freaked out.
Yeah.
She's had enough. She writes a letter to him. She's tried talking to him. Yeah. She sat him down. Yeah. She brought him out with friends. Yeah. She tried reasoning with him. Yeesh. She is reasonable and also not reasonable because she should have been running away. But it's not her fault, though, because she just thinks he's just kind of obsessive. And
also, this is 70s.
She's nice. She's a nice person. That's the other thing. It's not her fault. Right. She writes a letter to him and she says, quote, "I'm so sorry that you're still so angry and you feel a need for vengeance and punishment. You're accomplishing your goal. I feel like a walking dead person going through the motion of life, like a small wild animal who knows it's surrounded by a pack of wolves. Jesus. The smallest sound or movement makes me jump. The sound of the phone ring is now frightening. Another hang-up. I'm so locked in my own house, afraid of every sound the walls have probably always made. I walk out of my house, coffee shop, a gym, looking, terror, until I get into my car and I know the doors are locked and I can breathe again until I get out. Then it all starts over again. How long is this going to go on?" Wow. So that is just, Jesus, you're a plea from just a poor person pleading, please, Jesus Christ. Back then, too, the stalking wasn't a crime back then, too.
Really?
Remember that? They just made stalking laws in the 90s, I think.
Really?
Stalking, yeah. You could stalk the fuck out of somebody back then. That was fine.
That's horrific.
Yeah, it was hard. There would be like harassment you could file against them and shit like that, but like just stalking someone wasn't. There was years women were trying to get that in because guys were doing this.
Why are women?
I'm not doing anything.
Why are women surprised that they get shitty treatment still? Like when this is...
Well, they were trying to get it a law. They couldn't get it passed. It's not their fault. They were like, please make stalking laws. And they were like, nah, he's just being... Nah, he's romantic.
He's likes you.
Haven't you ever watched a movie? You hate him at first. He keeps showing up, and then you get married at the end. That's how it works. That's what they thought back then. It's like, no.
So the boombox thing was legal.
Yeah,
that's stalking.
Once she says leave you alone, leave her the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Leave people alone, for Christ's sake. So he wrote back. Okay, he writes back.
I can't believe how fucking backward our society was.
It's
that close
crazy.
to now.
Yeah, no shit.
Jesus.
He writes back, "My dear, I could not possibly apologize enough for any inconvenience I may have caused you. I sincerely thought you enjoyed living in fear and being a general participant in a fun game of hide and seek, like laser tag without the lasers or the tag." This isn't a real letter, actually. I just made that up because this dude's a fucking psychopath. Holy shit. What the fuck is that?
What kind of thing?
You looked at me like that shit's real. That sounded in line, didn't it? It sounded normal, though, didn't it? Yeah. You actually were like, what a fucking nut.
Apart
you were looking at me like, dude. Yeah, you were like, laser tag.
They came up with that? Fucking Tron wasn't even out
yet. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And that there, guys, I've never done that before, but that was a tribute only for letting us borrow his equipment. Yeah. That's a Dan Cummins move right there. He would make something up and say... And it's funny.
So convincing.
In the Time Suck podcast.
I'm sitting there going, no fucking way. And then he goes, you're right, no way.
Yeah. So I did that for Dan. So there you go. That was just, thank you, Dan, for loaning us our equipment. That her letter was real to him. Yeah. That was 100% real. He did not write back.
He had nothing to say.
I'm sure he just broke up.
Submission.
So the last week of February '83.
He probably had it framed.
Probably.
What a dick.
Well, we'll find out what he holds dear. He breaks into the condo, Dean does, while Dave is homesick.
Okay.
Dave Navarro.
Yeah.
He's homesick from school. He's supposed to be at school. Now, according to Dave, Connie left for her morning jog, which she did every morning, and Dave heard the sounds of somebody trying to open the sliding glass door to his mother's bedroom.
Okay.
So Dave catches a glimpse of Dean outside on the balcony trying to take the sliding glass door off its track.
Oh, my God.
So what Dave does is he goes and hides in the bathroom behind the shower curtain.
Oh, Dave.
Okay, he goes and hides because he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, this poor kid. Then he hears Dean gets in the house. He hears Dean enter the bathroom where Dave was hiding, which he must have been scared shitless.
Oh, my God.
So Dean leaves the bathroom and goes downstairs. And what he does is he goes and plays back her answering machine. So Dave hears Dean downstairs playing the guy. He's listening to who's calling her.
Yeah.
He's stalking her, and he's trying to find out what she's doing and all that sort of thing. So Dave sees that there was a gun on the bathroom floor near the door. He put a gun down there on the floor there, which is crazy. Dean just did. So Dave, what he does is, this is kind of smart actually, he leaves the bathroom and calls out for Dean, and he goes, Dean, Mom, are either of you here? Someone's trying to break into the house.
Yeah.
So he's like, not like, hey, Dean, why are you breaking into the house? What the fuck? He's like, hey, Dean, can you help me? Someone's trying to break in.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fucking interesting. So Dean goes upstairs, and, they go look at the sliding glass door, and it's on its tracks fine. So Dean's like, no one's breaking in. It's fine. No big deal. Door's on the tracks. Don't you worry about it. So Dave is scared shitless, and he's just like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Like, he's going along with it because he doesn't want, what is he going to confront this guy? He's 15 years old. He's scared. So he's just going along with the whole thing. Dean sits down on the edge of Connie's bed because they're in her bedroom with the sliding glass door, and he tells Dave that he's very, very upset about his mom not wanting to see him and anymore, and he's just really upset, and he's telling Dave all this shit, and he tells Dave that he's going to kill himself, but he wants to talk to Connie first.
Oh, boy.
So this is a lot of pressure to put on a 15-year-old kid. So then Dean pulls the gun out from under the bed and points it at Dave. But he's pointing it at Dave, saying he's going to kill himself, which is a super odd, confusing thing to have happen. Dean then apologizes to Dave that he pointed the gun at him and says, I'm not going to hurt you at all. But then he takes out a pair of handcuffs and handcuffs Dave in the bathroom.
Shit?
He's handcuffed Dave in the bathroom, okay? Then Dean leaves the bathroom saying that he's got to go deal with his mom. I'm going to go deal with your mom while you're handcuffed to the fucking bathroom, and closes the door behind him.
Okay.
So now Dave's sitting in there knowing that this guy with a gun who's upset and going to kill himself after he talks to his mom.
Jesus.
You're scared if you're Dave.
I didn't know this about Dave Navarro.
No, most people don't. This is why it's a crazy fucking story, and it gets worse. Okay, so half hour later, Connie gets back, and Dave could hear them arguing, and his mother screaming, where the fuck is Dave? Where'd you put fucking Dave? That's her only concern, is I don't give a shit about any of this. Where's my goddamn son? Because she's a decent mom. So they argue for 20 minutes. At one point, Dave said he heard the sound of someone being slapped. We don't know if that's which one is slapped, though. Dean comes back to the bathroom after they argue. He's sobbing now. He uncuffs Dave and begs Dave not to tell his mom that he handcuffed him in the bathroom. It's like, please don't tell your mom I did this, because that would freak her out a little bit.
She's already, somebody's been hit. The fight has escalated. Let's not escalate it further.
So Dean leaves. Dave takes off. He's done.
After that fucking episode.
He leaves, says, I'm going home. Please don't tell your mom that I handcuffed you. It's fine. Now, Dave was afraid of Dean, and also kind of didn't know what he should feel like, and didn't want to make things worse.
He's got
15.
so many chemicals running through his body.
God, so he didn't tell her about it.
Nothing.
Which at that point, that would have been like, okay, motherfucker. I think she would have called the cops at that point and been like, he broke into my house and handcuffed my son to a fucking thing. That's got to be at least.
Did he even tell her that he broke in?
No, he didn't tell her anything.
My God.
He didn't tell her anything. He just said, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was upstairs. That's it. So now on February 25th, 1983, Connie decides to leave for a weekend because she's scared, because there's a friend of hers named Donnie Clapp, which is a great name for the 70s. If you have the name of Common VD in the 70s and early 80s, that's fucking awesome.
It's a brutal life.
They call him Donnie the Clapp.
Yeah.
So Donnie Clapp is one of her friends.
That, by the way, your middle name is your nickname is the. That's it.
Hey, Donnie the Clapp.
Donnie the Clapp.
The Clapp. So he warns that that Dean's astrological signs, he's doing her charts over here, is showing that he's in a rage and he's going to erupt by the end of this weekend. So Donnie here, the Jesus Christ.
The Clapp.
He's advising her to leave. The Clapp is like, get out of here. You're going to be itchy. It's going to hurt when you pee. So she says she doesn't even feel safe in her home. So what they do is Connie and Marilyn Young go out of town for the weekend.
Okay.
Before they leave, of course, Dean calls her, wanting to know what she's doing that night, where you going, what are you doing. Marilyn Young goes to pick up Connie, and Dean is standing outside Connie's condo staring at them.
He's just there already.
He's just staring at them. Yeah. Marilyn Young said he had a, quote, very kind of frightened look on his face, and when they drove away from him, he got in the car and started following them in the car. which is crazy. He ended up, after a mile or so, he pulled off, but he was just like seeing where they were going. Yeah, it's fucking nuts, right? So she gets off from a weekend away, and Connie decides that herself and Dave should stay with her ex-husband for a little bit, stay with Mike for a while for protection here. Connie and David came home to pick up clothes real quick, Connie and Dave, and they found that someone disabled their front door alarm.
Oh, God.
So, like, how do you not just live in constant fear? I don't know how you could eat or sleep or anything.
At this point, you almost need to change your whole life and move out of state. Like, that's the saddest part of this, is that she has to go. She needs to be somewhere else to
away from here.
Life.
Yeah, and they found out later on that he was actually inside the condo when they were in there picking clothes. He was in there.
Jesus.
He was in there hiding in a closet. So this is crazy because he ended up admitting. Dean ended up admitting to Clapp later on when he talked to him about something. When I'm sure he said, "Where the fuck is Connie?" He told her that. He told him that. So now, March 1st, 1983. They're staying with Mike. Connie and Dave are staying with Mike. There's an answering machine recorded a telephone call. Remember back in the day when there was tape and before it was voicemail?
So awful.
If you pick up the phone, it would record your call. Like if someone said, "Hey, pick up, it's Johnny," and you'd pick up the phone, and then it would, unless you press stop on the answering machine, it would just record your whole fucking phone call. So that happened, and there's a phone call there between Connie and just a female, unidentified person, who Connie is asking questions about how to obtain a restraining order.
Okay.
Good start.
Yeah.
Not that that's going to stop him from anything, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
It's documented, well documented, and he's ordered to be somewhere else whenever she's somewhere.
Later that day, on March 1st, Connie goes and meets with an attorney who her ex-husband recommended, and they discuss how to obtain a temporary restraining order against him. So she means fucking business.
Yeah, she's done with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So March 2nd, 83, whenever the dates get closer and closer, bad stuff is happening. Connie and Marilyn Young and Sid Young, who is Marilyn's ex-husband. These exes all have great relay. They're eating fucking meals together.
Nice.
I've never had a meal with my ex-wife, not once. Not fucking once. We haven't had a fucking a snack together. Nothing. It's so weird.
Share an Otter Pop?
Nothing. No. Got a goddamn
an Otter
thing.
Pop and a Yoo-hoo?
Nope. I'm sure she wouldn't even like Yoo-hoo. Jesus Christ. That's why you got to get divorced sometimes, guys.
Hilarious.
Have priorities. Mine are Yoo-hoo. So they're eating breakfast at a restaurant when, hey, guess who pops up?
Yeah.
It's Dean, obviously. He gets Connie to move to an empty table where they could speak. He comes over, "Hey, come here, talk to me for a minute." Sure. So she's like, doesn't want to cause a scene. So she does.
Maybe this is the last time I have to talk to him.
Yeah, let's see what he wants. Marilyn can hear Connie yelling at Dean about breaking into her home and fucking up her alarm system. And Dean admits he did. Wow. He goes, "Yeah, you're right, I did. I'm sorry." Yeah. He also said he admitted that he took something from her home and showed Connie a letter that she had written him but didn't send yet.
Oh,
and he had it in his possession, which is super weird.
That's so scary.
That's scary. And that's scary enough. But if the next line is, quote, "There are no locks that could keep me out of any place," that's scarier, because that's what he said the next time. And he said if he wanted to, he could hurt her anytime he wants. He said, "I could have, and I don't." He also said, quote, "I could hurt you right here and nobody would do anything." Which isn't true. You're in the middle of a restaurant. I have a feeling
there's heroes.
There's probably some sort of policy about hurting women in the restaurant. Right. I would imagine if the manager would have something to say, at least he would ask you to leave. I would imagine
at minimum.
Very snotty voice, sir. Sir, I am going to have to ask you to leave.
You may not hit my patrons.
That is not all right.
Also, the police are already on their way because I took the step of calling them before confronting you because I'm terrified.
Yeah. So what he says is also, he says he wished Connie had already sent him that letter because he didn't think that she cared about him until he read the letter. Once he read the letter, he realized she cared about him. Yeah. And so he then promised that he wouldn't bother her anymore. She could return home. She doesn't have to worry about him. He was fine. Marilyn said he got up and left. Okay. Marilyn said that he looked horrible and scary, as if he hadn't slept in a week as he left. Okay. She suggested that Marilyn talked to him and said, maybe you should go to the hospital. Yeah. Admit yourself. And he laughed at her and walked away. Yeah,
said some psychotic shit like, tomatoes are blue.
That's beautiful. Yeah, he walks. He leaves. Connie decides, well, I guess it's safe to go home that night. Her ex-husband Mike is like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?
Don't you dare
stay here." Oh, yeah. He said it's safe. He breaks into your house and hides in the closet. What do you believe in him for, you fucking moron? But she says, "No, I want to, but leave Dave here. Dave can stay here with you.
Sure.
Which I'm sure the ex-husband here, Mike, probably said, if you want to go, I can't stop you. Right. You're an adult, but you're not taking Dave to an unsafe environment. And she probably agreed. You know what? Fine. So March 3rd of 1983, Connie's with her friend Sue Jory. They're going to hook up later on, and Marilyn Young. They're going to go out for dinner and drinks and, just general single gals night here.
Very nice.
Marilyn, her plans change, Marilyn Young, and she's unable to come. So it's just going to be Sue and Connie hanging out later. That same night, Dean meets an ex-girlfriend of his named Stephanie. It's a tough last name. Brizendine.
Okay.
Brizendine. Okay. Stephanie Brizendine and her friend Tony Natoli. They're at a restaurant called Tampico Tilly's.
Of course it is.
Okay. They're there.
What a fucking name.
Yeah, they haven't seen each other, Dean and Stephanie, for a long time, and she never met Connie before. Okay. But all he does is the whole meal is talk about Connie, problems with Connie. She said that while he was talking about Connie, he was sweating profusely and appeared to be agitated. At one point, he showed her a letter that Connie had written him, the one that said, why are you stalking me, basically, and said, she wrote me, and he said it too, she wrote me this nice letter.
Right.
Like, I'm confused. There's mixed signals. Look at this letter.
Look at this letter that says, I want you out of my life.
Imagine being this poor woman. You're like, let's see this letter. Oh, that's so sweet. She wrote you a letter. That's sweet. Maybe I can help you write something sweet back.
Holy shit.
Oh, my. She says you cause her to fear for her life. This is way less romantic than I'd hoped. Like, she's probably, what the fuck?
Where's the rose, the red violets, or blue
This is not great.
Where's the I see trees of green? What the fuck is this?
Stephanie said she was stunned out of all of his descriptions, and here's his letter saying how much she loves me, she said she was absolutely living in fear, and so Stephanie said,
she means like without me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she needs me in her life. She mentioned that Connie mentioned that he broke into her house and begged her to leave her alone. All this shit from the letter, and he was like, what are you going to do?
Can you believe it? Can you believe she doesn't want to see me read that? Isn't that sweet?
Stephanie says, Dean, leave her alone and move on with your life. She doesn't want you. Right. You know what I mean? So they leave the restaurant.
She leaves the restaurant.
No, they leave together.
Head.
No, they leave together. Dean takes her to. She's still shaking her head. He takes her to a payphone and dials the phone and gives it to her. He's making her call Connie now.
What the shit?
But she's saying that. She says that if a boy answered, she should tell him that Dean loved him, and if a woman answered, she should ask for Dave. So he's not even calling Connie. He's calling to tell Dave he loves him, basically, which is a weird thing to do. But no one answered.
By the way, as a 15-year-old, if you get that phone call from a weird woman saying, hey, Dean loves you.
It's weird. That's not helping any at all.
Shit?
Yeah, Dean loves you. Okay, who are you?
Thanks.
So she called. No one answers. The answering machine's picked up. And at that point, Dean freaks out, hangs up the phone, and says, that fucking bitch Connie's not answering the phone. So it went from that to him freaking out and calling her a fucking bitch.
Wow.
Stephanie walks him to his car. She said he opened his trunk for something, and she saw a gun in his trunk, which is a bad sign. They say goodbye, and he drives away between about 10 and 10:30 p.m. Now we've gotten down to half hours. Now see how we went from months to this. We went from decades to half hour. As he leaves, she said he seemed angry, but that was it. Just seemed angry, and he was like, I'll see you later, basically. They're only about 4 miles from Connie's house, by the way, at this point. Later on that evening, between about 10:30 and 11, Connie's neighbors hear the sound of gunshots and a bunch of muffled thumping. And about 15, 20 minutes later, the neighbor sees a large man who she couldn't identify leaving Connie's residence and driving away in her vehicle.
Oh, boy.
It's a bad sign.
Took her car.
Okay, so March 4th, 1983, the next day, Mike hears from his friend, Mike the ex-husband, that Connie had an appointment that she didn't show up at.
Oh, fuck.
And what the fuck? And I guess she was supposed to come and see Dave or do something with Dave, too, and she didn't show up, and that's not like her.
Right.
She's reliable. And so Mike goes, what the fuck? She won't answer the phone either.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I got to go over there. So he goes over there. He has, he gets in there, and he finds Connie and Sue Jory in the house. She finds Connie. She's dead, stuffed into a second-floor linen closet.
Oh, my God.
With a pillow over her face. And Sue's body was found face down in Connie's bedroom.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's bad. There's blood stains everywhere, blood everywhere, drag marks, bloody drag marks on the carpet that show that like Sue's body had been dragged from Dave's bedroom over to Connie's and placed in there. Connie had been shot twice.
Yeah.
The first bullet entered the left side of her chest, passed through her lung and exited in her back, which is bad. Second bullet entered the right side of her chest, passed through the aorta and the spine. So I mean, that's terrible, man.
Over.
It's terrible. Yeah, he got her twice. Good. Sue was shot once at close range, as close as 2 inches, they say.
Yeah.
Went through her hand at the base of her thumb, so it was a defensive wound. She put her defensive wound, entered her jaw area, and tore through the carotid artery and went out the back of her neck. So she tried to stop it and everything, it's tough. Bullets recovered from the scene were either a .358 or a .357 caliber, and they were consistent with being fired from a .38 caliber Colt handgun. They said when they did the testing. The condo showed no signs of forced entry. The only thing they looked at that was possible would maybe be a skylight in her bathroom that appeared to be a bit askew and slightly off its frame. But they said the height of this thing down here, they didn't think it was possible for anybody to come in. They didn't even fingerprint or photograph it.
Wow.
The cops. They said, no one came from there.
Wow.
Must have been something else. Connie and Sue's purses had been stuffed into a closet in Connie's bedroom. The only things missing from the entire residence were their car keys. That's it.
That's all he took.
Not a dollar, not an earring.
This is far too personal.
Just the car keys, okay? And Connie and Sue's vehicles were moved 2 blocks away and parked in opposite directions.
What the shit?
So this was whatever. On the kitchen counter, they found wine glasses and a glass pitcher. One of the wine glasses had Connie's fingerprints.
Yeah.
And the second glass, it was too incomplete for matching the fingerprints.
Okay.
All the latent prints in the house that were lifted matched either Connie or Dean, all but 3 of them. Okay, so Dean's fingerprints they found on a linen closet door where Connie's body was found. Yeah. So that's pretty damning there. So this is March 6, 1983. She's dead. Very sad. The cops, they want to talk to Dean.
Yeah.
A little bit. They're a little concerned here.
Sure.
They want to talk to Dean, and they want to, put out they put out a kind of a APB here for him and his 1978 Ford Fiesta, which is terrible.
What a shit car.
Jesus, plate number 1DLX102 in case he's still out there, but he's not. He immediately leaves Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Leaves his car, motorcycle, apartment, all of his shit. Just leaves it behind like it never fucking happened. What
did he take to get out?
Gone. He just took off. In his apartment, the police find ammunition, 3 handguns, a shotgun, a box of .38 caliber Colt handgun,
shells,
a box for the actual gun. They didn't find the gun though, and they didn't find any .38 caliber ammunition. They found other shit. They also recover 4 sets of handcuffs. Later in the month in '83, they issue a warrant for his arrest because he's fucking nowhere to be found at all. Dave Navarro says, quote, once they broke up, my whole neighborhood was in fear of this guy. I just knew something was going to go wrong.
Poor Dave.
No shit.
Yeah.
Mid-'80s here, FBI places ads in muscle magazines. Like, hey, if you see this guy, because he's a gym rat, blah, blah, blah. They stake out gyms. Literally, there's FBI agents just,
It's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Doing elliptical in the gym, just looking, hey, see if we can see this guy. Just crazy. He's added to the LAPD's 10 most wanted list at this point. So this is no shit. And they're trying to find him too. It's really interesting how they do it. Like his father dies, Dean's father dies in 1988 in New York. So the FBI has a whole team surveil the funeral and the wakes and all that shit because they figure he might go there, but he doesn't.
He didn't even go to his dad's funeral.
1989, he is featured, Dean is, on an episode of America's Most Wanted, which was a fucking big deal back then. Nowadays, there's a million you know, I don't even have cable. Like, it's all internet,
we were just watching last night, Live PD. They should. Criminals are the most fucking popular thing to watch.
In the 80s, everybody just watched TV. America's Most Wanted was the biggest shit in the world. It did, because
it brought cops around.
Yeah.
Like, the TV show Cops started because of that shit.
America's Most Wanted was the one they were catching people left and right, because it was this powerful thing. Like, you rather than have a picture up in a post office somewhere.
John Walsh?
John. He's a fucking asshole.
I always
John
mix him up with Joe Walsh.
Both assholes. They're both assholes. Interchangeable. John Walsh, I know his kid got killed. I feel terrible for him, but that doesn't mean he has to turn into a pompous cunt face. I hate that fucking guy. Get out there and find the criminal. How about shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Shut up. Show the fucking picture. Don't make it about yourself, you fucking asshole. Don't make it about yourself. Do it in a voiceover. I don't give a fuck. I hate him.
He's such a dick to him. Like, you find this fucking scumbag.
I just hate him.
He would say fucking if it was allowed
he would.
on TV. He would say the worst thing. This guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's just weird. And they found, and a lot of people too, that they've done things about that they were innocent and shit, and he was out there, people were wanting to fucking get a mob together to kill these fucking people, so that type of shit. But they did catch a lot of dangerous people. The show was a good thing. He's an asshole. That has nothing to do with anything. Show's a good thing. Huge deal. Now they're talking to his friends here a little bit. They're hunting down Dean's friends. They find his kind of a burglary partner of Dean's here, a guy named Samuel Sabatino.
Oh, yeah.
They say it's Sammy Sabatino. You know, he went by Sammy.
Or
guarantee fucking to you, he went by Sammy.
Yeah.
He's a Sammy and Joey and Jimmy and Paulie.
Right.
He says that before Connie died, Dean had told him that, quote, he felt like he was going to kill himself and that he was going to kill her.
Ooh.
So that's pretty damning here. And also after...
You ever felt like that?
And kill both?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You ever feel like I'm going to kill somebody and then kill myself?
And then kill myself? That's a
I've never felt like that.
It's a far plank to walk. Yeah, that's the thing. I've never been like, I'm going to tell my buddy here, see how he thinks about it.
I felt like you had to feel like that because you had to fucking say it.
Yeah. He ends up, after a few weeks, Dean tells Sabatino that he did it. Okay. He tells him that he killed them. He says that Dean told him that he broke into the house through a skylight.
Yeah.
Skylight. There's only one skylight in that whole fucking house, and waited for her to come home. He said that when she got home, her friend Sue was with her. Connie went upstairs, and that's where Dean was waiting with a gun.
Yeah.
They got in a big argument, and he shot Connie.
Yeah.
And while they were arguing, Sue Jory came upstairs and he shot her too. He told him he used a .38, and he bragged that he hid the weapon right under law enforcement's noses by putting it under some roofing material on the roof of his apartment.
On his apartment,
his own apartment. He just put it in the roofing shit, and he was like, "They're not going to look over there."
Buried it in the shingles.
They didn't even fucking photograph the skylight.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. And the police work was terrible back then for the most part. That's why serial killers did so well.
We're going to take pictures of that skylight. We're going to have to go up on the fucking roof and all that.
Well, this was only like a few years after they started thinking that like profiling was a good idea.
Yeah.
Before that, it was the behavioral science, and they used to call it the BS unit.
Right.
It's the bullshit unit because that's bullshit. But obviously it's not.
It's not.
Late 1990, he's featured on America's Most Wanted again.
Wow.
So they really want this son of a bitch.
They're trying.
This time, they also show a composite of a current girlfriend that they believe that he's with. Now, she is blonde and pretty striking. She's a pretty woman and tall and blonde.
Oh, boy.
So she sticks out like a fucking sore thumb. Every guy on earth is looking at her anyway.
Right.
So now they go, hey, is that a criminal? And she's got a nice ass.
Here's a composite of her face. But in case everybody is checking out her ass, here's a composite of her ass also.
Yeah, there's that too.
Immaculate, obviously.
People recognize her immediately. Yeah. Tips start rolling in like crazy. The FBI is given a possible address by a caller in Houston, Texas. January 4th, 1991, FBI agents are surveilling a luxury condo in Houston. Okay, the agents see Dean come out of the apartment. They see him get into a Cadillac Alante, just like a little sporty Cadillac. I looked it up. They had like 295 horsepower. They were fucking pretty fast little cars. I remember the commercials. Be an old person driving quickly through turns.
Right.
So they watch him take off. They didn't want to have to chase him because they were in like their shitty Chevys, and they're like, if he wants to run, it's going to be messy. Right. So fuck it. So they just tail him from a distance, and they don't want to spook him. They wait for him to return to the condo because they figure he'll come back home eventually anyway. So he comes in. He pulls into. They have a parking garage where you pull into. He goes to park. He pulls up into his space. FBI car pulls in behind him. Fucking agents jump out, guns drawn, whole deal. Get the fuck out of the car. The whole deal, like Henry Hill pulling out of the driveway. Exact same thing.
I love it.
Gun behind him, a whole deal. At that point, there's 10 FBI agents surrounding him as they take him out of there. They said that when they caught him, he was living in a luxury condo. This place was like a fucking luxurious condo. It was in his condo. They found tons of cash, jewels, burglary equipment.
What the shit?
Over $1 million in jewelry.
What?
In jewelry alone in the house. He's a fucking burglar. He's been doing it, living the high life. Yeah, he's great at it. They find out too, the FBI says Dean is a suspect in more than 100 burglaries in Chicago, Miami, New York, and Los Angeles.
Wow.
100. He goes for big dollar targets. He goes to steal big things.
He figured out how to be this after killing someone. You should have done this a lot. I mean,
he would have still,
stealing my shit.
He would have still killed her, I feel like, because he's crazy.
Right.
He underwent plastic surgery.
Holy shit, he's John Dillinger.
Yeah, he underwent plastic.
Shit.
He had his nose shortened, had a mole removed from his face that was distinctive.
Wow.
He didn't want to look like him. He wanted to be not get caught. Yeah. They find evidence that shows that he obtained a document showing how to change his identity before the killings, and at the end of the month of the killings, he applied for a passport under the name of another person.
Okay.
They have all of that paperwork. As they're leading him away, he's insisting they have the wrong guy.
What?
He's like, I don't know who you're talking about. My name is Bill Fela.
What?
My name's Bill Fela. I don't know what you're saying. That's all my shit inside. I deal in gold and jewelry. It's my business.
Yeah.
You have the wrong fucking guy.
Okay.
Whips out his driver's license. William Fela.
Wow.
There's my license. This is me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But he also has a briefcase.
Uh-oh.
Inside of his briefcase, there's a videotape. You know what's on that videotape?
A murder?
No, it's his segment of America's Most Wanted.
What an asshole.
So they're like,
Why
come on,
this,
Dean.
fuckface?
Come on, guy. What are you fucking kidding me?
He taped it and
taped it and kept it with him in a briefcase.
With a handcuff on it. And all
Yeah. Like it's the nuclear football. It's fucking ridiculous. So
prized possession.
It is. So there's an FBI agent, Ralph DeFonso. He was the guy who really tracked him down and did a lot of the legwork of how to find this guy and collected tips and vetted them and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
He goes to see Dean in jail. And he says, quote, I'm the one who's been tracking you for eight years. Dean says, so what? That's his response. So DeFonso says, well, I'll see you later because I'm leaving and you're not. And he walks out. He's like, that's all I needed to know. This guy's an asshole, basically. I like what he said. So what?
So what?
What do you want from me? It's like another good fellow.
So we're here.
One dog's going one way, the other dog's going the other way, and this guy's saying, what do you want from me? It's exactly the same thing. Watch Goodfellas if you haven't.
Hilarious.
I know you've actually seen that one, so I won't break your balls. So he's got court coming up. Yeah. He's got an appearance where they're meeting the prosecutors to discuss something in April 1991 at a federal court in Houston.
Yeah.
They're doing all this. They're in the court. Dean breaks away from his handlers.
What?
Breaks away, runs up to the second story, runs out. They're on the 10th floor.
Okay.
He breaks away, runs over to the 10th story window, breaks the fucking window out, and threatens to jump.
Okay.
So he's on the ledge of the window, threatens to jump.
Yeah. Where's Kevin Spacey? We need a negotiator.
There's a standoff for 12 hours.
What?
12 hours he threatens to jump. This is from 3 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock a.m. This guy is on a ledge. There's pictures of him just sitting there in a suit, just looking down, just fucking miserable. He's threatening to jump. Eventually, when it started to rain, they coaxed him back inside. Come on, Dean. He's like, okay.
It's wet out here.
It's wet out here.
He didn't mean it. He wasn't serious.
He comes in. It's they put him in a straitjacket at that point, and they fucking take him away. The butterfly nets are out, and he's gone. So what a pussy! He comes in when it starts to rain. Take him back to a fucking imagine that they take him back to the cell. Ugh. Imagine as they're walking him away
in a straitjacket,
and he's just like. He's just like he's miserable in the straitjacket walking to the car. You know what I mean? Just fucking, there's reporters. Imagine the reporters, too. They've been waiting for 12 hours. There's lights flashing. There's all this stuff going on, and he hears some dogs barking. It's very strange. He's like, I don't know what's going on there.
They're not looking for me anymore.
He's like, why is there dogs barking? And he looks over, and it's Bobby Colorado, animal trainer from Fredericksburg, Texas. And he says... How is it you came to arrive here? What the fuck is wrong with you? No, seriously, look at. Okay, I understand you move out to California, you're going to find the blonde ladies. I get that. I know. Back home, everybody's short and dark. I understand. Right. You're going out here, you find them blonde women. That's nice. You go from one, you go to the other. What are you doing killing them, you fucking moron? You're breaking in through skylights? You know why you do that? Because she didn't have a fucking dog. That's why I say, come to Bobby, Colorado, animal trainer. I'll train your dog. Anybody jumps through the skylight, I'll bite their fucking dick off.
You got a talented kid. You could have stuck around retirement.
I got to go now. All right. See you later. Poof. And in a cloud of dog shit and marinara sauce, he's gone. Dean is very confused. He has no idea what the fuck is going on. This is the thing, too. Think about this. If this didn't fucking happen, Dave Navarro's an accountant now, probably. Honestly.
Yeah. It didn't fuck him up enough.
He's not. He has no eye makeup on. You're not gothy with eye makeup.
Right.
You're just kind of a handsome fucking accountant, or he played the guitar before that, but who knows if you'd have the
been caught
darkness
stealing now when I was 5 might sound entirely different.
The drugs and all that, because the drugs started after this. All that shit that brought him down that path, who the fuck knows what would have happened without this? This created him. You see a gothy, dark, that's what this happened. It's not goth people, but that causes that. Yeah. He wasn't like that before. He really wasn't. So Dean, he hires a guy named Carl Jones, who's
Carl's
interesting. See, there you go. Well, this guy went on to be retained by OJ when OJ killed his wife, and then when OJ brought
Carl's are great too.
He does. When he brought Cochran in to be his main lawyer, Carl was moved to also defending OJ's son Jason in an assault case. So he's part of the OJ team later here. He defended OJ's son because he assaulted his boss at a cafe.
With a knife.
Yeah,
I remember
that whole thing.
That's one of the reasons that I believe that Jason was part of it. I'm convinced that Jason's that kid's unhinged, bro.
Look, man.
I don't want to get too far into a different story.
I watched the entire OJ trial on YouTube. I'm not even kidding. It's like 4 months worth of shit. Like if you sat and watched it straight.
Yeah.
I can't even start getting into this. I'll start talking about what night manager was on at Metzaluna that night when Goldman got off his shift. I can't deal with this shit because I know who the fuck it was. That's the scary part.
With Jason. Okay, go on.
Whew. So he retains this guy here. In the opening statements, the prosecutors are saying that Dean's motive to kill her would have been, proven jealousy, by rage. All of these stalking that is just uncountable documented incidences of stalking. Now, the defense they're pissed off about the characterization of the relationship with Connie. They're saying, look, there's no stalking at all. What you have here is a genuine effort from a man who loved a woman very much, trying to salvage a relationship that was important to him. That's all they're saying. I don't understand this. He argued that the evidence would show, the defense attorney argued, the evidence would show that Connie and Dean mutually cared for each other. They called each other all the time in January of '83. He said that when Dean left for New York in February, Connie became concerned about it, and they met. There wasn't plans to get back together, but the possibility was left open to him on that one day they might get back together. The counsel said, quote, as late as March 2nd, which is the day before she died, Connie had not closed the door immediately on closing the relationship. She said she needed time to assess where I am and what I want.
Yeah, that's what a woman says.
When they're trying to, hoping you'll find someone else while you're out there and leave her the fuck alone. Now they bring Sammy Sabatino into the mix. He testifies, tells police what he said earlier, all that shit. He admitted it, blah, blah, blah. He also, on the stand, they said, well, what's your criminal history? He's had three burglary-related felony convictions and was testifying against Dean in agreement with a plea agreement for a reduced sentence.
Wow.
He also admitted that he wanted to, quote, get even with Dean. This is on the stand because Dean never paid a $100,000 loan to him, repaid it back to him, and also because Dean had provided information to the FBI that led to Sammy's arrest.
Holy shit.
So he's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, Dean's a scumbag.
Dean's a scumbag. It's so Sammy, and they're just having a scumbag pissing contest right now.
That's like the Whitey Bulger trial is fucking amazing because as Bulger came in when they finally arrest him, he and one of his associates were having like a fucking argument who's the bigger rat.
Oh God, yeah.
In court, it's fucking. I love when scumbags fight each other
over who's the bigger scumbag. That's amazing.
You both suck.
You're both awful people. His stepmother, Dean's stepmother, Rosemary Riccardi, testified that soon after the killings here, that Dean admitted to his father of the homicides. Now, his father died in 1988, as we said, so that's not really can't be confirmed. She claimed, the stepmother, that in addition to saying this, she says that she relayed this information in a meeting with the FBI, and only 3 weeks prior to her testimony. But she says that she also told them about this in the 80s, and no one knew. But that's not on record. It's only now. She also had to deny she also had to deny writing a story about the killings. But she also admitted she expressed some interest in writing about Dean's upbringing, and that she thought it would make an interesting book. Okay, which is fucking interesting.
She had ideas to make money off of this shit.
Yeah,
she's kind of an asshole too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're saying he didn't say that to his dad. He didn't call his dad up and go, "Yeah, I killed this fucking lady."
Some people.
Yeah, she's saying this because it can't be denied, and she wants a fucking book deal out of the whole thing, and she's trying to get attention. They also, Marilyn Young and the ex-husband Mike, get on the stand, and they testify about.
That's got to be brutal for her.
Crazy, right?
The worst is that
Marilyn was supposed to be there.
Right.
Not only that,
fucking awful.
Dave feels insanely guilty.
Does he?
He feels insanely guilty.
Tell mom about the handcuffing.
Yep, he didn't tell mom about the handcuffing. He thought that would have made a difference. And also, he says, in a way where he doesn't know if he's sad or what, he says it's kind of like a divine intervention thing. Why wasn't I there? Because he said he would have killed me too.
Yeah, he was
with
Dad
he
that
killed
night.
the other two. He would have killed me probably too. So I could have been very easily dead if I went over there that night.
He has to look in the mirror every day and go, "My mom is amazing for giving me what I have today."
Yeah.
Because not only did she give birth and give me life, but she saved my life by giving me to my dad.
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, he's
that's the
fucking
truth.
dead.
He would be dead too.
He's
no, absolutely.
hold his mom up as a saint and a hero.
It's completely true. They both testified about the kidnapping her, basically, for that weekend away. They testified there. The defense calls 2 witnesses to rebut the stepmother's testimony. The first FBI Special Agent Gary Steger testified that while Dean was on the run, being a fugitive, there were 27 reported contacts between Rosemary, his stepmother, and the FBI. None of the reports document that Rosemary relayed any information that he talked about the killings to his father. None of that shit. She made that shit up at the end.
Back then.
No.
In 30 times, 27.
And they keep pretty close notes on that shit. That would have been something that would have probably been on the report.
They're one of the
imagine.
best at documenting.
They're good at that shit.
Right.
Second, also, listen to this fucking gin. Jesus Christ almighty. Good God. The defendant's second cousin, Mario Raganesi, comes in. I feel like this guy's...
What does Mario have to
This
say?
guy is fat and has sauce from a recently eaten lasagna dripping down his shirt, I feel like.
It's still under the corner of his mouth.
Holy shit. He testified that while Dean was a fugitive, that Rosemary, his stepmom, had repeatedly spoken of her desire to write a book about his life, about Dean's life, and had discussions with him and other family members, with Mario and other family members, in order to research his history. Hilarious. So Mario Raganesi's like, this fucking broad over here wanted to write a book. You know what I'm saying? Hey, anybody got a toothpick? I got a piece of sauce. I got a fennel seed. There was sausage in there.
Mozzarella still in my teeth.
There was a sausage in there. I like that, but it's a sweet one. I got the fennel seeds. I don't like that. I like that. So he's up there. He goes to lunch after this shit. Also, too, old Mario Raganesi says that Rosemary told him repeatedly that she thought Dean was innocent and never mentioned anything about shit to him.
Yeah.
There's hair evidence that the defense presents. They introduce evidence of 2 long hair strands that were stuck to Sue Jory's bloody hands when the police processed the crime scene. Now in '83 they microscopically examined, but there's no whatever. They concluded that at the time that they were dissimilar to Dean's hair. They were dissimilar to Dean's hair that they took from one of Dean's hairbrushes. They didn't attempt to match the hairs with Connie, Jory, or Dave Navarro. They're hairs. You could have got them anywhere.
Got some hairs.
Hairs. Stick to your clothes. Right now, I'm in L.A. There are hairs from my dog on this fucking thing, and you go, "Oh, there's a dog from Phoenix was here." No, they weren't.
Christ, there's much more in this hotel room. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, much more. Yeah, hair everywhere.
I want to illumine all this room.
She said that although the length and color of David's hair at the time of the killings may have been consistent with the hairs found on Jory's hands, she didn't perform the test match. She said that David's hair would have changed in the last 11 years, and any new match would be unreliable. And this was a time still before you could easily DNA match shit 91.
Yeah.
She thinks that they're consistent with hairs that fell out, possibly of one of them, one of the victims, and it was possible that a bloody hand wiped across the carpet could have picked up the strands as she was dragging them. Anything could have happened here. Dean testifies in his own defense. He testifies. He gets up there. He goes, "That's how much of a con." He's like, "I fucking got convinced.
I'll get myself out of this.
Hold on. I got this.
I got a great explanation.
Here's the questions you ask me." All right. He gives the guy a thing. Ask me this.
Ask me this.
So he testifies. He denies shooting Connie. He said he did admit that he was frequently depressed and suicidal because of the breakup.
Right.
He also he said that he called Connie frequently and he possibly annoyed her. He talked about the different encounters that they had at the restaurants and all the weird shit, but he had explanations for all of them. He denied he was stalking her. He just said that they had some of the same favorite restaurants, the same neighborhood, and her fitness center was along his usual jogging route. So if she saw him, go by the window, that's all it was. One time he said he was in Venice to meet another woman and to look at a restaurant, and after visiting the restaurant, he walked by Gold's Gym and a car pulled up. He said that Connie rolled the window down and asked what he was doing. He said they had a nice conversation. They went off to have lunch. He said they went off. She went off to have lunch. He went off to have lunch. They wound up seated at the next table from each other. Just coincidence.
Okay.
Like, hey, we have the same schedule. We belong together.
All right.
He said that he asked Connie if she was uncomfortable with him being there at the restaurant, and she said no. Like, he's saying, I'm a gentleman here. The George Hofer incident, the guy in Connecticut there, the modeling or the agency guy,
threatened.
Called at the hotel room. Dean denied following them to the restaurant and seeing them kiss and all that. He said he inadvertently saw them at a table at a restaurant that he and his friend had entered. They just looked at the restaurant. He said he did speak with Hofer over the telephone at Connie's home after grabbing the phone when she received a call, because he was like, "Hey, don't fucking call my girlfriend." He said he exchanged angry words with Hofer. Hofer was talking shit back to him.
Oh boy!
And then he hung up on him.
Yeah.
Man to man. He admitted he was jealous, Dean did, but he denied knowing where Hofer was saying. He said, "I didn't know his airline information. I didn't threaten to break Connie's knees. I don't know anything about that." That is all crazy. He also denied that he kidnapped her for a whole weekend. He said that Connie went willingly to a hotel. He also admitted to meeting Craig Spencer, Connie, and Sue Jory at a restaurant. That was the finger gun incident. Yeah. But he said he didn't remain mute.
Catch you later, kid.
Yeah, he said he didn't remain mute. He didn't do the gun pointing thing. Yeah. That's crazy. He also said that the David's account when he broke into the home, he said that is true. He did, but there was a partially open sliding glass door, and he just came in after no one answered the front door. Okay. He said it was open anyway on the second floor.
Right.
He climbed up.
That's
crazy.
Exactly where
that's
you
what
go.
you do. Yeah, I'm going to scale this wall quick.
Sure.
He denied ever pointing a gun at David or handcuffing him. He said instead that he told David to stay in the bathroom because he didn't want to be a witness in case he shot himself. Okay. That's what he said. He said
it's a bad story.
Terrible story. He says that Connie came home. She calmed him down and convinced him not to kill himself. They talked for a minute, and Connie went. She said Connie went to Dave's bathroom, told him everything was fine, and that Dean wasn't going to kill himself. He said the day before the killings, he did meet with Connie to discuss the letter she wrote him, but he denied breaking into the home and stealing the letter. He said that it was already sent to me. He claimed he only broke into her house once. That was with the Dave incident with the Home Alone thing. He also denied telling her that if he wanted to hurt her, he could have done so. He admitted going out with the Stephanie Brizendine woman at the restaurant at the Tampico Tilly's and discussing Connie with her. He said he couldn't remember if he showed her the letter. He did admit that he had Stephanie call the home from the payphone, call Connie, because he was afraid Connie wouldn't pick up the phone if she heard, wouldn't talk if she heard his voice. He denied giving Stephanie instructions to do what if David answered. He also denied having a gun in his car, which doesn't matter because then he went and shot him a fucking minute later, so it doesn't matter. He also said that he didn't go to Connie's condominium that night, but he was at home during the killings, and he left in the morning on a flight to New York to visit his terminally ill aunt. So he's like, I was sitting home waiting to go on a flight, just thinking about my aunt.
I mean, it's a great story.
He said that his friend Michael Hamritz, he feels like he can just talk his way out of this shit.
Yeah, he's painting a story of a guy that's just
a regular old guy, circumstances. Right. He says his friend Michael Hammerman, who was dead by the time he's testifying this, said he drove him to the airport that day. He said he didn't know about the killings until days later when Hammerman called him up on the phone and warned him that he was a suspect. He's like, my Connie's dead? Oh no. Like, what happened here? Yeah. He said when he learned he was a suspect, he didn't come back to Los Angeles because he was afraid of being convicted of a crime he didn't commit.
Wow.
He said he had prior burglary felonies, possession of stolen goods, and firearm by a convicted felon. This is all his previous crimes
a good guy to
that I could not find fucking documentation
really?
of. Oh, God. Well, he's nothing famous. It's hard. There's no press accounts of just some regular guy burglarizing shit. So
who even knows if that's even true?
That's what I mean. Well, he's got,
if he's admitting to it on the stand.
On court, they probably have a record, he said that he acknowledged that he had other uncharged burglaries in several different states. That's the ones we talked about. He also said that he did have his nose shortened and a mole removed 2 years after the killings. So he's like, I ran away. That part's true.
Totally
I hid, but I was all because I was scared.
Yeah.
Closing arguments, the defense says that...
Would you have your fucking nose shortened to
that seems
to
really...
not be convicted of a crime you didn't commit?
That seems really extreme, I think. Yeah, moles removed. Well, who knows? It might have had malignant.
Because he was an asshole. He was a terrible
he wanted to kill people and not be recognized.
Right.
So, in closing argument, the defense counsel tries to tear apart Marilyn Young's testimony and says that it's tainted and biased against Dean, and she's painting Marilyn Young as this evil person. The defense lawyer says, quote, what does your human experience tell you about people? If a close friend or family member of yours was killed, somebody was charged with the murder, you think you might go out of your way to be helpful in the prosecution? I don't know. Maybe subconsciously. Maybe if you start thinking about little things that you start thinking you should have seen, little things maybe you should have told someone that you didn't, you start looking and trying to remember things that maybe didn't happen. But that seems, maybe those incidents were worse than I thought. And you start to make yourselves believe it were true, which is a good strategy, honestly.
Fucking great.
That sounds reasonable. But there's like 8 people that all say the same thing.
And the other part is like you're discounting just a friend. Like you can't discount a son's testimony.
The son's, a neighbor, an ex-husband, the other guy, the dude with the sliding glass door, his wife. Everybody's fucking seen this.
Dave's life has been turned upside down because of this, man.
Think about how much the waiters in this area know. The servers at the restaurants know all of this shit. That's what they should have brought in.
There are some stories here that I guarantee will blow your fucking mind.
Well, definitely. No, probably not us, but other people maybe. The defense also argues that Connie wasn't afraid of him.
Yeah.
She says the prosecutor can say that she was just too frightened to say no, that she was just too upset. Well, come on. If a man is threatened to hurt you that bad that he's threatening to kill you and kill the people around you, are you going to see him 13, 14 times within 27, 26 days? That's a lie. Based on Connie's letters, counsel argued that they had a close relationship. Not close if you're stalking and she's begging you not to stalk. That's not close.
And she's in fear of her life. She's going to give in a little bit. And there's no stalking laws. There's nothing to tell him to go the fuck away.
No, especially not at the time. So July 29th, 1994, a jury finds old John Alexander Riccardi, old Dean here, guilty of first-degree murder of both Connie and Sue Jory by firearm. In the penalty phase, they bring in Sue's daughter. She was 13 at the time her mother was killed. She testified that her mother was her best friend, and that Connie was her godmother, and like a second mother who she called Aunt Connie. And she always said if anything happened to her mother, she hoped she could live with Connie and her son Dave because they were family to her. Unbelievable, the whole thing. She's just a heartbreaking testimony.
She and Dave are best friends now.
I hope so. I hope Dave keeps him. I hope he doesn't think he's too big to fucking hang out with her because this poor girl went through a lot.
She lost her mom too, Dave.
Yeah, she said she wrote a letter to Dean actually after the killing saying, how could you be so selfish to think that you had the right to fuck up everybody's life like this? Good kid. She went to therapy for 6 years.
Yeah.
She basically said she had to go live with her father and she had a difficult and horrible relationship with her stepmother, and she basically said she spent the next 4 years after her mother's death, quote, locked in her room, just avoiding everything. Dave was 15. He testified this just completely fucking destroyed his life when it happened. He was 15 when it happened. He says his father was so devastated by all of this happening that he had to take care of his father. He was a complete wreck. He said that Dave said himself that he became suicidal. His father couldn't care for him. He started to use drugs. He said he started to use weed and alcohol, and he ended up doing heroin, which is he became a complete junkie, and he become a rock star and all this type of shit because someone kills your mother. That's fucking sad. Dave says, quote, I definitely used drugs as an escape from the death issue, but I also used the death issue to do drugs. That night, I discovered if I ingest something, it's going to make the pain a lot better. I picked up a joint and smoked it and realized that it took the pain away. I became a full-blown drug addict from that night on. The truth is, I was just trying to find an escape from all the trauma I had gone through. Wow. Ultimately, all those things did was compound the trauma and make my life much, much worse. So, yeah, he had a tough... All of his struggles, a lot of his struggles in the future and all this is based on him trying to put this together. It's very sad. We'll find out how he ended up doing this in the end here, because he actually ended up, he's dealing with it in a very good way nowadays. He testifies here in the penalty phase that he's always been afraid of Dean. He often has nightmares about Dean. He feared that Dean would return to kill him and his father at one point. He was scared. He also blamed his mother's death on himself because he failed to discuss the incident when he broke into the house and handcuffed him to the toilet. And he said that he wished the defendant had killed him instead of his mother. Wow. So he's fucking guy's a mess, man. I feel bad for him. The defense penalty phase, they bring in a woman named Liz Brooks. She says she's had a friendship with Dean for 15 years and described him as polite and considerate and respectful. She said she also knew Connie Navarro and Mike Navarro and would often socialize with them. They went out to dinner a couple of times. She said that it appeared that Dean loved both Connie and Dave. She testified that Dave and Dean were very close, like father and son. And when they broke up, Dean and Connie, Dean was very upset and depressed. She did say, though, after a little while of being depressed, that he began to reconcile and he began to come to terms with the breakup. He said it was fine. And she has kept regular contact with Dean, this Brooks woman, since he's been incarcerated. Also a pastor from Hope Chapel in Hermosa Beach, testifies for him. Henry Caney says that they became a close friendship and that they were very happy and in love, Connie and Dean and all this horse shit. Right. It's ridiculous, man. He says eventually trouble emerged, and he gives that story. He said that he advised Dean to leave Connie alone and get some distance between them with the whole thing. He also described that during the breakup that Dean lost 20 to 30 pounds dramatically. Sure. He became despondent, resistant, suicidal, and they said all of that was very uncharacteristic of him. And he says that he also maintains contact with him even from prison. He asked that the jury show, quote, mercy toward his brother. And he said he loves him. They also, the jury, very important. They found special circumstances in the multiple murders of the multiple murders. But they find that he did commit these murders while engaging in the commission of a robbery. Right. Therefore, they give him the death penalty. Wow. Yeah. They say, take that, motherfucker.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's wow.
So much for mercy.
Well, at this point, Jesus Christ Almighty, he's ruined several fucking lives.
So many people.
All these fucking people. The Dave, what's her name? The young girl, Sue's daughter.
Yeah.
And what about all the friends though that felt
Marilyn,
like they should have fucking done something, or maybe I could have done something. Right. How many fucking people's lives are goddamn destroyed by this? I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy. I really do. But not nearly as bad as I feel for John Riccardi, an account manager at a U.S. vaccine division in the greater Milwaukee area. Yes, he vaccine does something with vaccines. He's better than this guy, is what we're saying.
Fucking cured polio.
John Riccardi, chief financial officer at Omni Biopharmaceutical Inc. CFO. And this company showed, Jesus, I'm insane. This company showed 69.57% earnings growth last year.
Wow.
Fuck yeah, John Riccardi. Do your goddamn thing.
Way to go, you CFO.
Finally, John Riccardi, dean of, this is great because he's got a dean in the title of his job, dean of the Boston University School of Law. So that poor bastard here. Wow.
The dean.
Hilarious. 1999, there's another appeal coming. There's several appeals because it's a death penalty case. Right. Dave testifies. He said about testifying, he said, quote, I had to face the killer in court last year. This was in 2000. He said it. I had to take the stand as a witness, and to the left of me were pictures of the crime scene on a fucking board. I had to ask for them to be covered. So they left pictures of his dead mom up there while he testified, which is fucking horrific, which is probably what the prosecution wanted the jury to see, I'm sure, or the judge panel, because it's an appeal, not the jury. July 16th, 2012, the appeals court finds that Dean's right to confrontation and due process weren't violated because they weren't allowed to cross-examine Mike Navarro about a piece of evidence. Okay. They ruled it that he couldn't do it, so they ruled that that's not a big deal. There was a tape. There was a certain tape, and they said that they were questioning the source of the tape from the answering machine. He taped it from the tape onto something else, and so because there was other shit on the tape, so whatever. So that was a big deal here. But there are juror issues. There are issues with the juror. There's issues with the juror response things. There are jurors who who were dismissed when they shouldn't have been. Yeah. There was some problems here. Not to get into because we could talk for an hour about jury questionnaires and shit like that. But basically, there were questions of: do you think the general feelings about the death penalty? Is it wrong to take a life for any reason? Blah blah blah. That sort of thing. Like all these different deals. He wrote. The one juror wrote yes in response to a question that asked whether this juror would automatically and absolutely refuse to vote for the death penalty in any case. Okay. So they were dismissed based on those. So they're arguing that there's a bias against the death penalty on here. That's why the prosecution dismissed him. But then the defense is saying, hey, what the fuck? That should be part of it, too. Yeah. They're part of the population also. Right. One person that was dismissed from the jury was dismissed because she loved the death penalty. And they said that wasn't right. She believed
find that person.
She believed the death penalty was, quote, not used enough. Wow. She said that she's pissed off that the sentence isn't carried out for many years later. And so she wrote no, she would not automatically refuse the death penalty.
What a vicious lady she is.
Absolutely. Another one here, the prosecutor, they claim that they dismissed a black guy for no reason, and they thought the black guy could have helped. Yeah. They said that the prosecutor claimed his reasons for dismissing the black juror was, quote, was number one, his answers concerning the relevance of a defendant's flight from the scene of a crime. That seems reasonable. Yeah. Reason number two, quote, his big earring. That was reason number two. He went, my man's a hustler. Yeah. He's going to game, respect, game. He's going to like this guy. Fuck that. And he dismissed him. That's ridiculous. So that was a thing here. Now, the court upholds the murder conviction, but unanimously reverses the death penalty sentence, ruling that the trial judge wrongly dismissed a prospective juror who had expressed conflicting views on the death penalty. Okay. So now he is sentenced to life without parole at that point. So, he's in there for life without parole. He's not going to get out. 2013, as part of a film that he's making, Dave went to San Quentin to visit.
He's in San
Dean.
Quentin.
Yeah, he's in San Quentin. He went to visit Dean, and he said, quote, I happen to have one of those conditions where I'm afraid of something I have to do, is what Dave said, and he's very afraid of this. He says, quote, I don't want to turn this guy into an interesting character. I like a lot of crime television, 48 Hours, Dateline, Investigation, Discovery, and those are very rarely shown, those stories as focusing on the impact of the family and friends and emotions and that sort of thing.
The fucking aftermath.
Yeah, he said they're always focused on the killer, and I didn't want to tell that. So he was happy that he wasn't allowed to record his meeting with the prison. Wouldn't allow him to record his meeting with Dean. And there's some sort of shit you have to go through.
He didn't want to put that guy's story out. He just wanted to tell about his own story, and unfortunately, they overlap.
Well, he said that the meeting ended in an awkward exchange, and he says, quote, I wanted it to make me feel scorn and anger and rage, and it just didn't. It did, however, he just said it made him realize that he was just, quote, some old dude dying in jail. That's it. He's like, he was nothing more than that.
I like it.
2014, the Second District Court of Appeals upholds Dean's prison term after rejecting his attorney's request to overturn his sentence and dismiss the fucking case. Okay. 2015, Navarro releases a documentary called Morning Sun, Morning is in mourning.
Oh, you are.
It's got an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
How about that?
I did not watch it on purpose because I didn't want to be clouded by... I don't know. I just didn't want to have
an emotion.
Stick to court documents and raw shit, and
you'll end up loving Dave.
Well, because
he's fucking charming.
Well, and I know. Well, I know the story, and I feel fucking horrible for him too. And I didn't want. I don't know. I just didn't want to be clouded by it. But he said that making this film has helped him sort out his feelings. Sure. He says about his mom. He says, "quote It's almost been a rebirth of my relationship with her in the light of the film." He said. He said, my memories of her are no longer shrouded in sadness. Yeah. I think that's partly because I was so close to the events as a child, especially being in the 1980s. Those words weren't really thrown around, domestic violence. So he said it's just different. Yeah. He said, as we
the
were
words weren't thrown around, the wives were, which is
exactly. He said you just didn't hear about it. Right. Stalking wasn't a thing either. He said, quote, as we were putting the project together, it dawned on me that that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Domestic violence, stalking, absolutely. That's what he was doing. 2016, the Investigation Discovery Channel honors Dave and gives him an Inspire a Difference award. Okay. Inspire a Difference honors. He's the first man to receive the accolade. It's been all women before that. Connie is buried in Westwood Memorial Park in Los Angeles. Uh-huh. And Dave has a tattoo of his mom on his left rib cage. Yeah. If you see a woman standing up, like a thin woman standing, blonde woman, that's his mom.
That's nice.
So if you see that tat, that's what that is. Can't get enough of Dean Alexander. Tough shit because nobody else gives a fuck about this guy. And there's no memorabilia or anything available. He's a dickhead and he's going to die in prison. Fuck you, Dean. That said, holy shit, that's a tale.
Wow.
That's a fucking tale.
That's a first, too.
It's a different one for our show. I want to do a little different this time. It's a crazy case. No sports. We went into this crime.
I can't believe that I didn't know about this when I loved Jane's Addiction.
Weird. I loved Jane's Addiction when I was a kid.
Dave Navarro's fucking amazing.
Oh, he's great.
He shreds. He's amazing.
I love Jane's Addiction. He's made...
I never knew that his mom was murdered.
I didn't know any of this either. This is insane.
It was by an amateur athlete.
By an athlete, and it's crazy. Well, if someone had to kill her, we're glad it was an athlete. Even though we didn't, we don't want anyone to kill her. But if someone's going to kill her, at least if you're going to kill anyone, go do something athletic or go to a small town and do it, please. Because if someone's going to die anyway, at least help us benefit from it. If you like the show. Speaking of that, if you do like the show, you can go to iTunes and give us 5 stars. Yeah. Just say you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. Right. You can also, if you're even a more amazing person, you can go to patreon.com/crimeinsports and you can leave us a donation there. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, you can do that at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us on all forms of social media. We are Instagram and Twitter at Crime in Sports, Facebook.com/Crime in Sports, and crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Please, God, head to the website. What is it again?
LH-ST.com.
Right. And get your tickets December 14th for us to be in Chicago seeing some amazing people.
Let's have fun.
Let's do it. And Jimmy, I believe you have a list of wonderful people who have been so great to us this week. Why don't you hit us with that list of producers? Ow.
This week was really tough for me because of the loss of my aunt last week and then the outpouring of support via unbelievable emails and comments. You guys were fantastic. Thank you so much. Linda Prost sends us unbelievable.
Yeah, you're the best, Linda.
She sent us also some aprons.
She's great.
She's
great.
I love
it's an inside joke, and she's just the best. She's doing some. She's just helping us out a lot, and she's terrific. A wonderful person. We love you, Linda.
Go run your fucking marathon.
Yeah, go run around.
Chrissy Ann Castaldi and Jess Landgren in Australia. Chrissy Ann's in Boston, I believe.
Yeah, Boston. Yeah, they're
Thank you
so
both
great.
so much for
we love those girls so much, those
terrific.
ladies.
Heather Cotton, Emily Ham, Diana McCann, on Fan. I think that's it. A-N-H is on, right? I'm not
on, sure.
Or Ann, whichever. Yeah. Either way, Ann Fan. That's
Ann
cool
Fan.
Too. Aaron Tanner, Carolyn Jackson, Jennifer Harris Frowen, I think. Jennifer Harris Frowen. God damn it, I write like an asshole. It might be Trowen, but I think it's Frowen. I think it is. Laura Sinclair, Latasha Jacket, Paulina Kyriakos, Mary Faust, or Foos. She donated twice, so thank
she's
you,
the
Mary.
best. Thanks, Mary.
Karen Siefker, Kathleen Hoke, Kasten Johnson, Carrie Murray. God damn it, I'm terrible at this today. Sarah Gilbo, Dusty Paddock, Stephen Rossiter, Yasmin Wallace, Christopher Ascaragan, Ascaraga.
Ooh, I like that name.
David Skews, Hallie or Holly Warren, Shelley Warnos, Melissa Silsby, Jan Austerlitz, one of the two. Dee Dee Kohler had her credit card canceled and then came right back to re-up her donation. So thank you, Dee.
Wow, thank you so much. That's amazing.
For everything you do.
Really,
Lisa
thank you.
upped her donation. Kelsey Burke, Sarah Doctor, Michael Vandenbrink, Danielle or Daniel Belusi, Ashley Vo Duty. I'm sure it's wrong, and I still love it. Courtney McKnight, Laura Dixon, Jill C., Katie Earl Mahoney, Lindsay Yasnil. Such a brutal last name to pronounce. It's so many consonants in a row. Yasd. Yasnil. Ryan Hansen, Corey Graham, Tim Weissner, Ashley Milan. Ashley, you're terrific.
Yes, you are.
Edwards, David Quiles, Carrie Clark, Kristen Quantal.
You can do it, Jimmy. Dig deep.
Quantalani.
Hey.
Quantalani. That's got to be it. Greg Gurnich. Greg Gurnich, Danielle Longamore, Ryan Duty. I hope it's Duty. That's awesome. Valerie Galloway, Anthony Kaiser, Stephanie Slaza, Roxanne Townsend, Logan Abbott, Abby Jubert, Samantha Statterston, Lisa Morgan Pierce, Angel Cantwell, Michael Dosarizo. No, that's not it. No, I'm not going to ruin it. Michael Desrosiers.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's a good one. Ashley Lewis, Adam Thorpe, Candy Emons or Emmons, and the last one is easy. It's Megan. Thank you all so much.
Thank you guys so much for everything.
Thanks for helping produce this. Thanks for helping us deliver this show to you guys. We really appreciate you.
We try our best, and we couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to find me at Wisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, either way, play along and get involved. I really appreciate it. I love hearing from you guys and hearing what you guys do listening to the show. You guys are terrific, and keep it up. Stick around.
And I am at Jimmy P is Funny on all the normal requisite sites. And if you want to copy and paste my last name, if you want to friend me on Facebook or something, that'd probably be the best way. Don't be a hero and try to spell it. Just do it like that. Make sure to get your tickets for Lincoln Hall.
Yes.
And we will be back in our normal setup next week, where we're not at a shitty little tiny table in a motel room somewhere. So we'll be there. But for now, wherever we are, it's live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Ricardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.